The story begins with a couple tangled in bed, but it isn't a passionate embrace. The man is choking the girl. The young lady is Lysera Iris, popularly called the Duke of Whitlow's flower, and she has just proposed to this man. Iris never expected it to be easy. She is basically entering a beast's house just to escape from the other beasts. She knows how terrifying he is, but he is the only one who can protect her. She refuses to give up. Meanwhile, Count Green is convinced the girl is joking. Iris has been raised in a greenhouse all her life. She probably doesn't even know what couples do. The man becomes touchy, but Iris quickly stops him. She knows what he is talking about, but reminds him they aren't married yet. The Count is annoyed and laughs at her. He orders her to leave, but Iris refuses. Our girl has decided to be shameless. You see, a man called Alfred is trying to marry her. He even plans to hand over Levent's gold mine to her father. But Iris doesn't want that. She wants the Count to propose to her and even offer his own gold mine to the Duke. She believes her father would choose him because his mine is bigger. The man looks surprised and wonders if Iris is worth a gold mine. Well, our girl thinks it's better for him to marry her. She has found out his secret and knows the mine is useless. Keybrant looks shocked because this is secret information. He becomes violent when Iris reveals his identity as the King of Beastmen. He warns her to be careful and even threatens to end her life. But our heroine isn't afraid. She is ready to drag him down with her if she fails. By then, his plan will be ruined and all his beastmen will die with him. She teases the Count. Right now, he has no choice but to marry her. Keybrant thinks this woman is arrogant, but she is also mysterious. She doesn't seem to be afraid of him, and he can't understand her. He suddenly starts acting like a gentleman and even apologizes. He asks why she wants to marry him. Our girl is just trying to escape from her father. She wants to build her own greenhouse and live a happy life. Our heroine has a big secret. She has been reborn. In her past life, she was strangled to death by her ex-husband, but she was unwilling to die, and some deity or something gave her a second chance to live. It has been a month since the girl woke up. After a hard life, she died at the age of 40, but now she is back to her 20s again. Iris thought it was a dream, but after confirming it was real, she knew she had to escape. Except, the man she reached out to still hasn't replied to her. The girl thinks her life is miserable, but her stepsister appears to make it worse. Brittany is pleased when she hears Iris is going to marry an old man. She attacks our girl and hands over a revealing dress. She calls our heroine's mother a seductress. They had hidden the truth so they could marry her off. Now she wants Iris to seduce Alfred. Things are about to get heated, but a maid interrupts them. She announces that Keybrant Green has arrived. Downstairs, our male lead mentions the Duke's daughter, and the man immediately praises Brittany. The girl appears and looks proud, thinking the Count is here to see her. She doesn't expect him to walk past her. Turns out, our male lead is a big shot. He has the Holy Kingdom's support, and even the Emperor has to respect him. He might be a Count, but he is as powerful as a Duke. And right now, the most popular man in the kingdom is kneeling before Iris and asking her to marry him. The man has decided to accept her deal. Iris is celebrating her new proposal, but her father is about to explode. He thought the Count was interested in his other daughter. Well, our male lead bursts his bubbles and pulls Iris close. He declares she is the one he wants. The Duke isn't the only unwilling person. Brittany looks like she wants to rip the two apart. She wonders what the Count sees in Iris. She refuses to believe any man could want her sister. The Duke is also trying to convince Keybrant to give up. He says Brittany has to marry first as the eldest sister. The Count doesn't believe his crappy excuse. He mentions all the younger nobles who married before their siblings. Even the royal family is involved. He suddenly becomes hostile and asks if the Duke looks down on him. The man is frightened and rushes to explain. He is trying to appease the Count, but his daughter ruins his plans and yells at the man. She claims Keybrant asked her for a dance at the last party. She really should have kept quiet because now the Count disgraces her. He calls her foolish and reveals that she was the one asking him for a dance. He only agreed because the girl looked desperate. He never thought she would be delusional, too. Brittany looks ashamed, and her father begins to change his mind. He doesn't understand the situation, but he is willing to agree. He just wants a chance to cozy up to the Count. The man ignores him and asks Iris for her answer. Her father is now eager and seems ready to agree on his daughter's behalf. Still, the girl doesn't say a word. Keybrant offers his hand, and Iris finally smiles. She holds his hand and accepts his proposal. Everyone looks happy. Well, except for Brittany. She immediately yells and demands that her father stop the proposal. She claims Iris is too young and not ready for marriage. But this time, her father doesn't support her. He gives her a dark look and orders her to leave. Our heroine is finally leaving her dark prison. She enters the carriage and immediately questions Keybrant. She believes he showed up today because he knew Alfred would pick her up. The Count had even prepared the contract for the gold mine and insisted on taking her away immediately. K-Brandt smiles and pretends to be ignorant. He thinks no one would know he sent a group of assassins to stop Alfred. After killing the old man's guards, they decide to teach him a lesson. Poor Alfred begs for help, but it is too late. Meanwhile, our heroine is wondering why the journey is so long. Last time, she only spent half a day on the road. She becomes uncomfortable when she notices someone staring at her. K-Brandt is wondering why his new bride is so calm. The girl looks confused, so he reminds her that she just sold herself to him. She was desperate to escape from the Duke, but she had just entered another dangerous home. She might end up dying one day just because she married a werewolf husband. The man thinks she is just pretending to be strong. He wants to know how she will protect herself. K-Brandt is trying to be stern, but Iris just laughs. She knows he is trying to frighten her, but nothing is scarier than her father's house. She has told the man about the future, but he still doesn't believe her. She suddenly grabs his hand and holds it to her face. The man is seduced and pulls her close. The girl ends up falling into his lap. K-Brandt can tell she isn't afraid. He moves even closer and asks if she will ever regret it. The Count wonders if Iris will ever regret her decision. Meanwhile, the girl finally realizes how close they are. The man is even holding her thighs. She isn't expecting this and begins to feel shy. She tries to push him away, but K-Brandt just pulls her closer. He even begins to get touchy, and Iris's heart nearly flies away from her chest. The man finally notices how stiff his bride is. The girl looks like she has frozen in stone. Still, K-Brandt doesn't give up and even tries to kiss her. Thankfully, they are interrupted by the servants, and Iris quickly runs back to her seat. The man asks her to look outside, and she sees a beautiful city. He says this will be her new greenhouse. She is now his wife, Iris Whitlow Green. The girl is admiring the view until a certain annoying man shows up. He asks if she likes the bedroom and says they will be sharing the room. Iris is shocked and immediately changes the topic. She wonders what she should call him now that they are married. She says he can call her Lysira. The man is once again surprised by his bride. He introduces himself like a gentleman and says she can call him Kira. Finally, a better name. Iris isn't as calm as she looks. Our girl is secretly nervous. She never thought she would share a room with Kira. In her past life, just like other couples in arranged marriages, she and Alfred slept in separate rooms. The girl is distracted, and Kira uses this chance to pull her close. He claims they have unfinished business and starts to seduce her again. Iris is frustrated, but the man proudly calls himself a beast. The girl isn't impressed and pushes him away. Kira immediately looks like a wronged puppy. Iris says he has to show her his real form. He has been using his werewolf identity to frighten her, and now she wants to see his wolf form. The man agrees, and the girl is excited. She never thought she would see what a werewolf looks like. Well, her chance is here, and Kira changes into a huge black wolf. Iris admires his size. The man expects her to be afraid, but she moves closer and touches him. She even calls him beautiful. Kira doesn't know, but Iris witnessed his death in her past life. He had died in a miserable way, killed by a human. He had spent his whole life protecting the holy relics, but just because he was a beast, the humans killed him. Iris thinks his death is unfair, so she hugs him again. Kira has no idea why his new bride is suddenly clinging to him. He says she might regret hugging him, but Iris misunderstands. She vows never to regret her decision. The man decides to tease her and suddenly changes back to his human form. He asks if she regrets it now. Iris finally understands why he asked because the man ends up naked. Our poor girl is frightened out of her mind. She immediately starts screaming and nearly brings the whole mansion down. Kira's soldiers are alarmed and immediately rush into the room. They are also embarrassed when they see the full scene. Their lord is wearing nothing but a red blanket. Kira scolds them for entering a newlywed's room, but they aren't deceived by his change of topic. The men immediately apologize to Iris. It seems they are used to their lord's weird behavior. A soldier tries to distract her and offers a tour of the castle. Behind them, another servant scolds Kira and drags him away to get dressed. The servant in front of Iris almost swears as he tries to prove his lord isn't a strange pervert. Our heroine finally looks at the culprit and notices something strange. Kira might look calm, but his ears are bright red. The servants are still struggling to dress him up. The place is chaotic, but it actually makes Iris laugh. The girl is delighted as she realizes her new marriage might actually be fun. The chaos finally ends, and it is time for introductions. The three head soldiers appear. The blonde one is called Nathan, and he is an expert in combat. He even offers to teach Iris some self-defense. The tall one who keeps crying like a baby is Wallace, and the calm boy next to him is Eugene. The big man starts crying again. He never thought his lord would get married and begs Iris to take care of their poor Kira. Even if she doesn't like him, she can't abandon him. Iris is amused, but our male lead is ashamed. He says he needs to take his wife on a tour. The truth is, he is just chasing his friends away before they make things worse. The men leave, and Kira groans in embarrassment. He is about to lose his mind. Iris thinks his friends are nice, and the man says they are his family. The girl can't relate because her family is full of horrible people. She wonders what they are doing now. Meanwhile, the Whitlows' mansion is in chaos, and it isn't the good kind. Brittany is throwing a tantrum. She refuses to let Iris marry the most popular count in the kingdom. She blames her father, but the man claims he is doing this for their family. He reminds her that they were given the Benoth gold mine, but his reasons mean nothing to Brittany. She doesn't care about that. In her delusional mind, she thinks she should be Kira's wife. She blames Iris for stealing her man away. Brittany's mother is also upset. She never expected Iris to marry the count. She only took care of the girl, so she should sell her off and never planned to marry her into a good family. The whole family is really delusional. The mother thinks Brittany will be higher than Iris, and her father agrees. He announces he has joined the Crown Prince's faction. The girl is happy and believes she will become the Crown Princess. But she still isn't satisfied. She doesn't want Iris to be happy and makes a vow. When she becomes the Crown Princess, she will steal Kira away. The girl seems to be writing a letter that will ruin Iris. She believes she is the only one who deserves love. Her sister has to remain a slave forever. Iris has no idea what her evil sister is planning. She is enjoying a meal with Kira. The two are done with their tour, and the man wonders which place she liked the most. The girl thinks for a while, but every spot in the mansion is beautiful. The only thing she really remembers is Kira holding her hands during the tour. She thought he would ask the butler to show her around, but the man insisted on accompanying her himself. At that moment, the girl felt her heart skip a beat. The man suddenly looked dazzling. Iris doesn't hide her feelings and tells him the tour was nice because he accompanied her. Although her feelings might also have changed because she saw his sexy abs. Kira is always looking for an opportunity to touch her and takes it to get closer. He claims her words are tempting him, so he has to fulfill her desires. He starts playing with her hair and asks if she brought her pajamas. The mood is ruined when the girl reveals she has no clothes. She lived in the Duke's mansion all her life, but only had one outfit. The man refuses to give up and suggests she wear his robe. The girl immediately becomes nervous and warns him not to joke around. But Kira isn't playing. He immediately takes off his robe and covers her. He reveals his desire. He wants to be the one dressing and undressing her from now on. The girl is in shock, but Kira thinks her blushing face is cute. He immediately moves closer and tells her he wants to devour her. The next thing we see is clothes on the floor and our couple tangled in bed. But don't worry, nothing is going on. Iris has fallen asleep, which leaves Kira frustrated. All he did was kiss her, but the girl ended up sleeping. The man, knowing she is embarrassed, leans over to kiss her forehead. He wonders what happened to Iris. He knew the girl had grown up in shame and had always been hidden by her family. She seemed so desperate to escape her father's house. Kira has no idea what she went through, but she is now the flower of his family. He kisses her again and vows to let her bloom peacefully. The man leaves the room, but he is stopped by a strange woman called Gillette. The girl takes one look at his exposed chest and immediately smirks. She suddenly offers to help the count. Help my foot. The next morning, Iris wakes up and has no idea what happened last night. The girl is craving a walk and some cold ice cream, but she immediately forgets that plan. Her only outfit has been snatched away by the maids to be washed. Still, she feels relieved. She never had such peace in her past life. The girl is enjoying her time when she suddenly hears a knock. Wallace is here with a visitor. The new man apologizes for not visiting sooner. He introduces himself as the butler, Jamie. Such a handsome man. Jamie is ready to serve his mistress. Iris has no maids, so he offers to get her everything she needs. The girl wants him to speak informally, but he refuses. He insists on calling her by her title. Iris can't change his mind and finally agrees. She tells him her next wish, she desperately needs some clothes. The man thinks she just needs new clothes, but Iris says she needs something to wear immediately. She remembers the cute Nathan and thinks she can borrow his clothes. They seem to be the same size. Wallace looks horrified. He knows Nathan looks like a girl, but he is still a man. Iris can't wear his clothes. The girl doesn't think it is a big deal. She was always called the Whitlow's flower, but she had lived like a weed. Now that she has finally escaped, she is determined to live her life the way she wants. She tells Wallace this is her home, so she just needs some comfortable clothes. Her words please Jamie, and the man smiles. He vows to raid Nathan's wardrobe and snatch all his best outfits. Wallace watches in shock, but he can't stop the two troublemakers. Jamie is eager to start his mission and asks Iris if she needs anything else. The girl is still thinking about that walk and asks for some ice cream and an umbrella. The men laugh, but Iris suddenly becomes serious. She asks Jamie how much control she has in this house. The man is shocked but says the mansion is hers. Iris can do whatever she wants. The girl is pleased and laughs happily. Iris finally gets her wish. Jamie really picked Nathan's best clothes, and our girl looks gorgeous. She settles down by the fountain to enjoy her ice cream, but immediately faces a huge problem. She doesn't have enough hands and can't hold her umbrella. She is prepared to toss it away, but someone suddenly grabs it. The girl is surprised, but it is her new husband, Kira. The man isn't pleased to see her eating ice cream for breakfast. She wonders how he found her, and he says he met Jamie. Iris is really impressed by the butler and keeps praising him. She calls the man polite and says he prepared her ice cream. Kira is shocked and curses his butler. That sly Jamie has never been nice. He is just pretending so he can please his new sister-in-law. Iris has no idea what the man is thinking and offers him some ice cream. Kira immediately becomes naughty. He refuses to accept it and says she has to feed him with her lips. The girl knows he is teasing her, but this time she plays along. She suddenly moves closer and kisses the man. She knows this is the only way to control him. The two kiss for so long that they even forget about the umbrella. Iris teases her husband and asks how it tastes. Kira says it was sweet, but he is definitely not talking about the ice cream. The man is pleased until he notices her wearing another man's clothes. He is so jealous that he ends up pulling her hair. The girl complains, and he immediately apologizes. Still, he refuses to let her go and offers to buy her some new clothes. Iris finally looks at him, but she is shocked by what she sees. The man stares at her with adoration, and the feelings shift. Kira asks if he can help with anything. Iris doesn't refuse and says she needs some proper maids. The man promises to help her choose. Our heroine suddenly says her former fiancé will visit their mansion soon. She knows the man still hasn't given up and will ask Kira to divorce her. Her husband calls her name, and when Iris looks at him, he has a crazy look on his face. He offers to get rid of Alfred forever. He is ready to rip the man apart. Kira doesn't want his wife to see Alfred again and offers to get rid of the man. The girl keeps waiting for him to call it a joke, but the man looks very serious. Iris thinks he is cute, but she doesn't need any more trouble. She wants Kira to convince Alfred to give up the Levant gold mine. The man has to hand it over to her as a wedding gift. Iris knows Alfred won't give up easily. Right now, he's probably throwing a tantrum at her father's house, demanding to have her back. Plus, her stepsister isn't happy with her marriage. The girl is probably planning to get rid of her. Iris knows the two will soon arrive to cause trouble. Our heroine is thinking about her problems when she hears Kira laughing. She looks up, but her husband is suddenly hostile. He says she doesn't deserve a wedding gift. They had made a simple deal. She would hide the truth about his identity, and he would help her escape from her father. He thinks their deal is now over. Iris isn't frightened by his mean look and even calls him a petty man. Kira immediately looks offended. She asks if the great Count Green can't afford to give his wife a wedding gift. His family might not be wealthy, but they are respected by everyone in the nation. Still, that isn't enough for Iris. The girl wants to control all the nations of the world and make them bow to her. She offers to share her kingdom with Kira, but he must first invest in her. The man looks shocked. He knows her dream is impossible, but something about her touches his soul. He suddenly grabs her hand and kisses it gently. Just as she wishes, he will give her the Levant gold mine as a wedding gift. A few days pass, and our heroine has finally found some proper maids. She is reading about them and seems impressed. Finally, she won't have to do the hard work alone. She notices someone approaching, and it turns out to be Gillette. The girl walks past Iris, totally ignoring her. She doesn't even offer a greeting, bothered by the maid's disrespectful behavior. Ever since she appeared, Gillette has been rude to her. Iris knew some servants would be jealous, but didn't expect them to be openly hostile. She knows the girl is a noble lady, but she sneaked into the Count's house as a maid. Iris finds such behavior irritating and vows to teach the girl a lesson. She is interrupted by Jamie, who announces her new maids have arrived. The two head to the meeting spot, and Jamie introduces the ladies. They are both from noble families and seem pleased to meet Iris. The dark-haired girl is from the Fernie family, known for producing talented artists. Half the artworks in the royal palace are made by them. The girl with red hair is Erwell from the Lutek family. They're known for producing the best scholars in the kingdom. Just being born in that family makes everyone respect their words. Our heroine is impressed with her new maids and welcomes them warmly. Krishna is also happy to meet her as she knows Iris is the flower of Whittle. Erwell has no idea, and she looks shocked. She is about to speak, but Krishna quickly slaps the back of her head. She threatens the girl to keep quiet. Iris can tell the two girls are close, and Krishna admits their families are friends. Jamie says Erwell will be staying with Iris. Krishna is married and needs to return home to see her child. Our heroine has no objections and says the girls can tour the mansion. Once they are alone, Krishna immediately gives her friend another slap. Erwell looks wronged, but Krishna feels no pity. She warns her to be more careful. Urwell claims it isn't her fault. She is tired of acting like a noble lady. The girl is more prepared to be a bodyguard as she reveals the dagger hidden in her dress. She is ready to protect the Countess. For once, Krishna seems to agree with her. Over at the Whitlow's mansion, Brittany is throwing a tantrum again. She had sent for Alfred, hoping they could work together to ruin Iris. Yet, the man had dared to flirt with her. Once again, she blames it all on Iris. A maid appears and announces the Viscount is here again. Brittany screams in agony. She makes up her mind to get rid of him. The girl arrives and sees Alfred harassing one of her maids. The man isn't ashamed and even dares to flirt with her. Brittany finds him disgusting and secretly makes up her mind to ruin him. But first, she has to use him to get rid of Iris. She tries to convince the man to get Iris back, but Alfred isn't a fool. He knows it is impossible. Brittany refuses to give up and has even come up with a devious plan. The only reason men love Iris is because of her innocence. She is like a pure flower in a beautiful lake. Brittany is going to ruin that. She plans to spread the rumor that Iris has already been tainted by another man. That way, the Count wouldn't want her anymore. Alfred doesn't think anyone would believe him. The girl tells him not to worry and promises to support him. She will make everyone believe his words. It is a peaceful morning, and Krishna is dressing Iris up. The two girls talk about Urwell and think she is very honest. It has been a few days since the maids arrived, and the girls seem to be getting closer. But there is just one problem. Outside the door, Urwell and Gillette begin another screaming match. The two ladies are about to destroy the entire castle. Krishna is terrified and wonders if she has to stop them. Our heroine feels her head aching. A single day doesn't pass without the two girls fighting. She knows it is all Gillette's fault. The girl thinks she is the real mistress and keeps trying to challenge the new maids. Iris looks tired because things have just become more annoying. The door suddenly opens and a furious Urwell steps in. She is about to complain, but the dark look on Krishna's face terrifies her. The girl quickly calms down and explains to Iris. The Countess had ordered her to do some tasks, but Gillette kept interfering every time. Iris doesn't blame the girl and even comforts her. Urwell is touched and her eyes sparkle with love for her mistress. She quickly reveals what Gillette said. The maid claims she has been running the household for a long time and knows more about the castle than Iris. She even wants Iris's maids to listen to her. Krishna is furious, and for the first time, our heroine is angry. Gillette has crossed the line. Our girl suddenly says the girl is useful. The other maids are shocked, especially when they see her smiling. Iris has made her decision. She will make the girl her personal maid. Gillette has no idea she is in trouble. The Countess has summoned her, and she wonders what Iris plans to say. She has been waiting for 30 minutes and is beginning to feel unhappy. Our heroine finally arrives, and the girl gives her a fake greeting. But Iris isn't having it. She scolds the girl and even laughs at her. Iris knows what Gillette is planning. She is from the noble family of Merdi, yet she became a maid and lives in the Count's household. This might be a normal event in their kingdom, but she is sure the girl has other plans. She thinks Gillette is in love with her husband. That explains the girl's harsh behavior. She thought she could marry the Count because she was pretty. Our heroine walks past Gillette and heads to her seat. She thinks the maid is foolish. She should have pretended to like her and try to approach Kira behind her back. Gillette is annoyed by Iris's smug look. She thinks the girl is shameless. Iris didn't even have a wedding, but is already acting like a countess. As if it isn't enough, the woman suddenly says she will become her maid. Gillette is furious and immediately starts screaming. She claims she is Kira's personal maid. Our heroine doesn't care about that. She tells Gillette she will become her new maid. The girl is angry and finally remembers she is from a noble family. Iris says it doesn't matter who she works for since she and Kira are a couple. The maid proudly says it is just an arranged marriage. Iris is amused by her foolishness and reminds her an arranged marriage is also real. She doesn't hide her disdain for Gillette, and it makes the girl furious. She yells at Iris and even walks out on her. Gillette thinks Iris has no right to control her and rushes to find the Count. She believes the man will support her because she is also pretty. The girl feels smug since she is the only woman allowed into the Count's study. She laughs and vows to make Iris regret it, but the girl soon receives a big shock. She keeps knocking at the door, but the Count refuses to let her in. He even chases her away. Just then, our heroine arrives and mocks the maid. She announces her arrival to Kira. Gillette thinks Iris won't be able to get in, but the door actually opens. Kira appears, and he is pleased to see his wife. He immediately starts touching her and praises her outfit. The two have totally forgotten about the furious Gillette. Iris finally remembers the girl. She tells Kira about her plan to make her one of her personal maids. Gillette tries to speak, but Kira doesn't even listen to her. He tells Iris she can do whatever she wants. Iris is taking a walk in the garden with Urwell. The maid is glad because Gillette's nasty temper has been tamed, although they still aren't friends. The girl they are talking about sneaks up like a ghost. She isn't as proud as before and even greets Iris. She has only been the Countess maid for a week, but she is already obedient. Well, only towards Iris. In front of the other maids, she remains rude and even flaunts her status as a noblewoman. This time she ignores Erwal, and the girl almost faints from anger. She complains to Iris about Gillette's rude behavior. Our heroine also thinks the girl is suspicious. She is sure Gillette is planning something devious. The servants at the Green Mansion gather around to gossip. They have noticed that Iris isn't wearing a wedding ring. Gillette has been spreading the news about their arranged marriage, and the maids all believe her. They really think the Count doesn't care about his wife. He couldn't even celebrate their marriage with a feast. They wait for Gillette to arrive, wondering what news she will bring. But instead of Gillette, an annoyed Jamie shows up. He chases them away, but the man doesn't look happy. Jamie is about to go bald from worry. The mansion is full of rumors about his mistress, but the woman doesn't seem to mind. She is so unbothered that it makes him upset. The man looks up and sees the Count waiting. Our male lead is here to visit his wife. Jamie happily says he also wants to see Iris. Kira doesn't give him a chance and quickly snatches the documents. He says he will deliver them and chases the poor man away. Iris is reading a book and doesn't expect to see her cute husband. The man is supposed to be busy. Kira says he had some free time. He isn't ashamed and admits he stole Jamie's work just to see her. The man suddenly pulls the girl close. Iris hasn't finished touring the mansion, so he offers to accompany her. The two hold hands as they walk. Kira has heard from Jamie that a naughty dog is causing trouble. Of course, that dog is Gillette. Iris blames him for spoiling his pet. The girl had even said she was taking care of Kira. The man is shocked and swears he is innocent. He finally knows why his wife has been avoiding him. She thinks he is sleeping with Gillette. Kira grabs her hand and pulls her close. He promises her no one has touched him. Iris isn't satisfied and wonders why he indulges Gillette. The man kisses her and admits the Murdy family is useful. The girl calls them useless and suggests he get rid of them. Kira is smart and doesn't argue. He says she shouldn't worry about some wild dogs and offers to show her a secret. The two head into the forest, and Kira leads her to a strange-looking building. It looks very scary, but he claims there are good things hidden inside. The man shifts because the door can only be opened in his wolf form. Iris finally steps inside and sees the place is full of holy relics. The kingdom has lost its magic, and sacred items have become expensive. People are now searching for the holy relics and its guardians. The girl moves closer and stares at the sacred items. Kira warns her never to touch them because the relics are harmful to ordinary people. Everyone knows people without magic can't touch the holy items. Once they do, they would suffer and beg for death. Even being too close can cause torture. Kira tells her a legend. In the past, a group of people called relic magicians could control the relics and use them. Iris wonders what happened to them, and the man says they still exist. They are just hard to find. He claims the relics can trap a person's soul, but assures her these are safe. There is a cup that produces grains, a sword that can heal or kill, a wand that controls all beasts, and a robe that makes people invisible. The two admire the relics, but Kira suddenly hears a sound. He tells Iris their guests have arrived. Alfred is here. Alfred is clearly here to cause trouble. He gathers the maids and tells them about his love story with Iris. The girls all look impressed and call him romantic. They seem to believe his words. Jamie watches them in disgust. Alfred is proud because his plan has worked. He didn't expect the maids to fall for such a simple trick. Kira arrives and the servants all run away. Our male lead has heard Alfred's little story and he isn't pleased. The two men finally meet and Alfred looks like a scared child. He wants to talk about Iris, but Kira has no plans to listen to him. The only thing he wants from Alfred is his gold mine. The Viscount is shocked and starts yelling. Kira ignores him and keeps talking about the price. Alfred refuses to listen, and our male lead suddenly becomes hostile. He tells the man they will only talk about the gold mine. His words make Alfred furious, and the man attacks him. He calls Kira a thief and accuses him of taking his woman away. Our male lead can tell that the conversation wouldn't work and switches to his next plan. He roughly grabs Alfred, but the fat man refuses to keep silent. He calls Kira violent and says Iris will never love him. He claims the man will never make her happy. Kira is angry and decides to teach the man a lesson. Alfred is still bragging, but he quickly becomes scared when Kira drags him to a hidden room. Our male lead is clearly holding a knife, but claims he isn't trying to torture the man. He only wants to buy his gold mine, but the man keeps saying nasty things about his wife. Alfred refuses to shut up and threatens to report Kira to the Holy Kingdom. He accuses him of stealing his wife and locking him up in a torture room. Kira is amused and calls the man naive. Since Alfred entered his city, he has no plans to let him escape. Our male lead invites his 3 soldiers inside, and Alfred nearly cries when he sees them. They were the 3 assassins who attacked him in the past. He starts begging the Count, but Kira leaves him with the men to have a friendly conversation. Trust me, those screams are just part of the talk. Jamie tells Iris the Viscount has agreed to sell the mine. The girl is surprised because she never thought they would get it in a day. She might have provoked her husband too much. Still, she is very happy. Alfred had given her family the gold mine in her previous life. The mine had run out of gold, but it was still very useful. Because of it, the Whittle family could expand their influence. Iris wouldn't let that happen again. She has one more request for Jamie and tells him to find a man for her. He used to work for the Whittle family until he was kicked out. Iris thinks he is hiding somewhere and orders Jamie to find him. The man is important to their family. Gillette still hasn't given up. She gathers the maids and tells them another nasty rumor. Alfred's visit has given her the power she needs. She orders the maids to spread the rumors around. And the dumb women really listen to her. Soon the whole city had heard of Iris's affair. In an elegant room, a lady meets her friends. She hears the rumors about the Countess cheating on her husband. The girl is furious and wonders when her brother got married. Over at the Whitlow's mansion, Brittany's friend arrives with some urgent news. She shows the girl a news article, and the paper is filled with rumors about Iris. The people claim to have discovered her secret life. The girl had married Count Green, but even after a while, there hadn't been a wedding ceremony. The paper claims it is because Iris is no longer pure. Brittany looks really smug when she hears this. She pretends to be sad that the truth is exposed. Her friend is surprised that Iris married the Count. Brittany had told her the girl was marrying Alfred. She had even said that Iris was the one chasing the man. The devious girl quickly changes the topic. She can't let anyone find out that the Count proposed to Iris. Brittany knew Alfred could never take Iris away. She just wants to spread the rumors and force the Count to kick her out. Her friend insults Iris while she pretends to defend her sister. She says the rumors are false, but the girl doesn't believe her. She tells Brittany about Kira's fierce sister and reveals the rumors have reached the lady. She mentions Kira's famous admirer, Countess Nelanicus, but Brittany has no idea who she is. Her friend explains that the woman is close to Kira's sister. Before she got married, the lady had chased Kira. Even now, she still lusts over him. Our heroine isn't aware of the rumors spreading around and is going on a journey with her husband. She would have preferred to go with his soldiers, but the man insisted on following her. She is afraid she might be disturbing his work. Kira isn't pleased. This might be his first marriage, but he knows that following his wife comes naturally. He starts touching Iris again and praises her outfit. The girl claims she is trying to avoid attention. Kira takes one look at her exposed chest and tells her she is failing. Right now, he can't take his eyes off her. The man touches her chest. He hasn't forgotten their unfinished business and pulls the girl into his lap. This time, she can't pretend to fall asleep. Kira starts his attack and kisses Iris all over. He looks ready to devour her. The girl reminds him they are in a carriage, but Kira doesn't care about that. His touch and kisses confuse Iris and set her on fire. She has never felt this way and has no idea what to do. But the girl is still traumatized by her past with Alfred. She starts trembling, and Kira notices. He immediately stops and tries to comfort her. He promises not to do anything unless she agrees. He says she can always stop him. The girl is relieved and thanks him. The two calm down, and Kira mentions his younger sister. She called men who never listened to women trash. Iris has never heard about his younger sister and is surprised. Kira admits his sister has a weird personality. Our male lead might have lied. His sister is clearly a terrorist. Right now, she is harassing the men in the Greens' mansion. She scolds them for not telling her about Kira's marriage. Jamie tries to defend himself. He says the two married before anyone could find out. Jen doesn't spare him and says he should have informed her immediately. The 3 men immediately beg for forgiveness. They all look terrified. The woman doesn't calm down and says she'll wait for Kira to return. The other men have to bring him back immediately if they want to live. Our poor Kira has no idea he is now a target. Our couple finally arrive. Kira is eager to meet the man his wife has been searching for. The two head inside and see a man sitting at his desk. He seems to be unwell. The stranger is shocked to see them and immediately recognizes Iris. The girl introduces the man as Guger, the former estate manager of the Whitlow mansion. Kira waits at the side while the two talk. Guger never thought he would see Iris again. He is happy to see her safe and married to a powerful man. Iris has always felt guilty. Guger was one of the few people in her father's house who treated her well, but he was kicked out because he was too nice to her. The two share their feelings, totally ignoring the jealous man beside them. Kira was aware that Iris was searching for a man. He also knows she was just a kid when Guger left. But the thought of his wife searching everywhere for another man makes him jealous. Iris gets down to business. She invites Guger to be the manager of her gold mine. The man is shocked to hear she has acquired the Levent mine. He knows it belongs to Alfred. Iris doesn't explain and says she wants him to manage the mine. He is free to hire workers and monitor the extracted minerals. The idea is tempting, but Gauger refuses. He tells Iris he is just a poor drunkard. The girl doesn't accept his excuse. She insists on leaving her only property to him. Gauger is shocked by her determination. The girl who was scared to even look at the servants is now confident. The man is touched by her words and vows to live for her. Iris steps outside and sees an unhappy Kira. The man refuses to bring Gauger into his home and offers to give her his best subordinates. The girl has no plans to take Gauger with her. She only wants the man to manage her gold mine. She reminds Kira his subordinates will always be loyal to him. They can even kill her just to please him. She doesn't tell Kira, but in her past life, the Emperor noticed Gauger's talents and invited him to join his royal court. The girl pulls Kira close and warns him to stop interfering with her matters. She says it makes him unattractive. The man isn't offended and even laughs. He calls himself a charming husband and plans to watch from the sidelines. The couple begins their journey back home. Kira has received the news and tells Iris his younger sister has arrived at the mansion. The girl is surprised. However, Kira thinks she is here because of the rumors. His sister must be furious after hearing about his marriage. Iris thinks about her husband's family from her past life. They were all rude and hated her very much. The girl panics but tries to calm down. The past has ended, and she is ready to see how Kira's family would treat her. The man interrupts her chaotic thoughts and mentions the spreading rumors. He wonders when she would stop them. The public already thinks he is a pitiful man. Iris feels sorry for her poor husband. The man really seems to be suffering. She wanted to wait until the rumors spread further, but now she is ready to catch the culprits. Gillette really thinks she is the mansion's hostess. She orders the maids around and prepares for Kira's return. Jen watches her in shock, demanding to know who this stranger is. Nathan feels wronged. He has answered this question 10 times. He explains that the girl is Iris's personal maid. Jen nearly explodes with anger, wondering why a maid is acting like the master. Nathan says he can't interfere since she belongs to Iris. This just makes Jen more annoyed. She thinks Iris isn't teaching her maids properly. She remembers the horrible rumors spreading around town and becomes more furious. Just what is her foolish brother thinking? Our couple finally arrives and everyone rushes out to welcome them. Jen is ready to see the delicate princess her brother married, but the woman she meets isn't weak. Iris steps out and waves the papers around. She has read the articles and hopes the culprit isn't someone from her household. She is ready to teach them a lesson. Jen looks at her new sister-in-law and is impressed. The girl's personality is just like hers. Our male lead is in trouble. He tries to explain why he told no one about his marriage, but only makes things worse. He says he forgot, and his friends almost faint from anger. He claims he was too busy. Kira didn't want to admit that he had forgotten everything the moment he saw his wife's gorgeous face. Jamie is furious, and the other men wonder if they should change their boss. Kira thinks the situation is too difficult and plans to speak to his sister. His friends tell him to drop the idea. They repeat the mean words Jen had said. The girl basically yelled at them and called Kira a dog. She didn't want to see him until dinner. Jamie advises him to be a good son and forces him to write a letter to his father. Kira agrees and orders them to inform Iris about the meeting. Our male lead invites his wife for dinner. He tries to give her a pep talk before she meets his crazy sister. He tells her he has 2 siblings, and Jen is the youngest. He calls her immature, but a furious Nathan appears out of nowhere and says the girl is difficult. The boy is worried about his mistress and offers to accompany them to dinner. Iris is surprised by the close relationship between the men. Everyone seems to be afraid of Jen, and she starts to worry about meeting Kira's sister. Nathan advises her to ignore the girl's mean words. He promises to fight for her if the scolding gets too bad. Iris playfully calls Jen a lady, but the men jump away like she just dropped a bomb. Nathan looks like he is going through 7 levels of trauma. Kira looks nervous as he says his sister is bold. Iris finally understands why the men were all afraid. Looking at Jen's stern face, our girl turns into a gentle rabbit. Kira tries to introduce his wife, but his sister shuts him up. She wants Iris to speak for herself. Our heroine nervously greets the lady. Everyone is expecting a catfight, but Jen practically drools as she stares at Iris. She even offers to call her sister-in-law. The men are all shocked to see her being nice, but that is only for Iris. She looks at her brother and the two nearly have a fight. Jen wonders why Iris married such a man. She calls him an old fat dog who didn't tell anyone about his marriage. She thinks there is nothing good about him apart from his face. Such wonderful sibling love. The two are about to fight again, but Iris interrupts them. The girl shocks everyone when she suddenly confesses she likes Kira. She praises every inch of the man down to his laughter. What no one knows is that she met Kira in her past life. The man had helped her, and from that moment, Iris fell in love with him. Such a sweet confession, but Jen looks disgusted. She really can't understand Iris's choice. Nathan thinks they had a secret wedding, and Kira immediately looks guilty. Jen notices, and the man admits they didn't hold a wedding. They had only registered their marriage. Jen is so horrified she nearly screams the house down. The siblings are having a meeting. Kira is convinced his sister is planning something. She has been too nice to Iris. Jen is offended and says she has no plans. She admits this is just a test, and Iris is past half. She brings up the nasty rumors spreading around town about his wife. The girl knows it isn't true, but if the rumors continue to spread, things will become worse. Kira asks for her advice, and she says they have to prove to the other ladies that he loves his wife. They have to hold a grand wedding, and the girl offers to plan it. Our heroine is relaxing in the garden. Jen had dragged her brother off to some secret meeting. Iris is sure her husband is getting scolded, but she doesn't care. She is just glad she escaped. The girl even has time to read a book. Iris wants to know more about the Holy Kingdom and finds a book about its history. The book explains how the fight between the Holy Kingdom and the Beastmen began. Everyone knew that Benedictum, the next pope, was a beastman. But after the people found out what kind of beastman he was discarded. That led to the first Beastman Rebellion. Back then, the beastmen and humans were treated as equals. But depending on their beast form, the beastmen could be ridiculed or admired. Unfortunately, Benedictum's beast form was a mouse. The people couldn't accept that their next pope was going to be a lowly rat known for spreading diseases. Even though the man was righteous and kind, the people rebelled and refused to accept him. He was forced to face their mockery, and even the current pope turned his back on him. Benedictum was hurt by the betrayal and gathered the rest of the lowly beastmen to start a rebellion. The story is getting interesting, but Kira has to appear and ruin everything. His sister is done scolding him, and he runs over to speak to Iris. The two go on a walk. The girl teases him about his cute nickname and wonders how he got it. Turns out Kira is called a fatty dog by his sister. He explains he was able to transform since his birth. He never knew it was dangerous and is glad his family never freaked out. He finally grew up and realized he was an outcast in society. If his secret was found out, he would be killed. Iris looks sad to hear this. The boy reveals he always ate and slept in his wolf form. He soon became so fat, his sister had to give him that nickname. Iris is still feeling sad, but Kira tells her not to worry. The man suddenly becomes serious and says the beastmen are always at the risk of dying. He produces an orange out of nowhere and hands it over to her. His sister has given him some advice, and Kira decides to propose with the fruit. Iris isn't impressed. She doesn't even want to hold a wedding. But looking at Kira's cute face, the girl changes her mind. She finally understands the beastmen and wants to take away the man's pain. She suddenly touches his face and throws away the stupid orange. She agrees to hold a wedding and kisses the man. Iris is relaxing in the mansion, but almost faints when Jen appears out of nowhere. The girl is excited to hear about their wedding. She tells Iris she will be hosting the ceremony. Our girl is nervous because Jen clearly has no experience. The young girl says she has a friend who can handle the arrangements. She vows to make the wedding grand. She has more news for Iris. A priest from the Holy Kingdom is coming to investigate the rumors about her. A few days pass and the priest finally arrives. He says the Pope isn't happy with Kira's marriage. The guardians of the sacred relics are supposed to have a clean reputation because their behavior affects the Holy Kingdom. Kira failed to report his marriage, and his wife has also ruined their reputation. The man doesn't look bothered, which makes the priest furious. He slams the table and boldly says, Kira's position was given to him by the Pope. Our male lead has a dark look on his face. He reminds the priest the Holy Kingdom needs them. His family is the only one who can control the sacred relics. The priest is frightened, but still delivers his message. The Holy Kingdom never approved of Kira's marriage. He didn't consult the Pope, and the dirty rumors about his wife have ruined their reputation. The Pope has ordered him to get a divorce. He even plans to pick a new bride for Kira. Our male lead isn't pleased. The priest says the Pope sent him, but Kira knows the old man would never care. He is certain someone else is trying to manipulate him. He suddenly moves closer, frightening the poor priest. He reminds the man the rumors might not be true. The priest says the newspapers have written about the rumors. He seems to have forgotten that most papers are just looking for profit. He claims Kira has been bewitched by his wife. Our male lead looks angry. He doesn't touch the priest, but the man starts to choke. Kira tells him his marriage can only be controlled by God. If the rumors are true, he vows to divorce his wife. But if they are fake, the kingdom will have to pay. He wants the Pope to attend his wedding, apologize to his wife, and bless her. Immediately, Kira ends the meeting and the servants report to Iris. The girl is impressed by her husband's bold move. The Pope didn't even attend the Emperor's wedding. He only sent his blessings, but the king had bragged for days. Yet, Kira asked the man to show up and even apologize to her. Iris is pleased with her husband's actions and decides to begin her plans. The town is full of excitement. The Countess is throwing a party and has invited the commoners. The people gossip about her. They want to attend her party, but still think she is a nasty person. The maids at the Green Mansion are also excited. They are eager to attend the party and have fun. They have totally forgotten about the rumors they spread about their mistress. Krishna catches them gossiping and orders them to resume their work. She doesn't leave, but secretly watches them. Meanwhile, Whittle is throwing a tantrum. As always, she complains about Gillette. The girl had sneaked off to attend the party Iris is throwing. Whittle imitates the girl's annoying tone. She claims she would appear as the Viscount's daughter and not as Iris's maid. She is clearly abandoning her duties. Krishna finally shows up. Turns out she was spying on the maids for Iris. She says the town is full of excitement and the nasty rumors have become even more ridiculous. Whittle is furious and wonders why Iris invited the maids who betrayed her. Our girl says she is waiting for the perfect time. She has to pick the fruit when it is ripe and can't allow it to rot away. She orders the girls to inform Jamie. The party has to be perfect. Whittle is throwing another tantrum again. This time, she searches through Iris's jewelry box but can't find anything that fits her lady. She needs to make sure Iris's first appearance is perfect. Krishna watches her run around with the expensive jewelry and nearly faints. The dramatic maids are interrupted by Kira. The man is here to see his wife. He offers to help her dress up and chases the maids away. Whittle is about to protest, but Krishna covers her mouth. Kira watches in horror as she drags the girl away. Iris steps out and sees her husband waiting for her. The girl is happy to see him. The man is amazed by her dress and praises her. She looks for her maids, but Kira has chased them away. He wants to help her with her jewelry and has even prepared a new set. Iris tries to grab them, but the man refuses and insists on helping her. He has noticed how obedient his butler has been and mentions it. Iris thinks he is just copying his master. She makes a mistake and mentions Jamie's wings. The man becomes suspicious and asks how she knew his butler's true form. Iris is nervous, but there is no way she can explain. The man doesn't force her and hopes she will tell him one day. The girl doesn't think so. Who would believe that she had lived and died before? They might even treat her like a witch. She becomes distracted, which displeases the man. He begins to kiss her neck, hoping to get her attention. The maids interrupt them before things can go further. Kira kisses her one last time before they leave. The party begins, but Gillette is upset. She never expected the other noble ladies to show up. She tries to convince herself they are just curious about Iris. The girl feels smug and looks down on the other girls. She thinks she is the most beautiful lady here. Not really, girl. The servants announce the couple's arrival and everyone rushes to see them. Gillette calls them boring. Wait until she sees Iris. The girl immediately looks terrified. Our heroine appears and she looks so gorgeous. Gillette isn't pleased to see people admiring the Countess. She watches Kira smile at his wife and it makes her furious. She pushes everyone away and rushes to Kira's side. The people are shocked to see her because she is overdressed. Even her own parents look horrified. Iris praises the girl, which makes her smug. She thanks Iris for inviting her. Our heroine doesn't indulge her delusions. She reminds the girl this is an open party, so she didn't invite anyone. Gillette is embarrassed. She sees everyone avoiding her and believes Iris is trying to isolate her. She's probably afraid she will steal her spotlight. Iris has no idea what the delusional girl is thinking. She is ready to begin her party, but someone appears and stops her. A man barges in and asks Iris about the nasty rumors. Everyone looks shocked. Kira is upset, but Iris calms him down and insists on handling her mess. She calls the reporter rude, but the man isn't upset. He thinks Iris planned this ball just to clear her name. He is shocked when the girl says she doesn't care. She knows that people are desperate for gossip. She hugs Kira and says her family believes her, so she doesn't care what others think. The boy reminds her the Holy Kingdom is already investigating. She can't ignore the rumors anymore. He says his name is Whittle from Ellerbo and asks for an interview. Iris has heard about his company. Ellerbo has branches all over the continent. The paper always writes rudely, but it is known to report the truth. Iris had met this reporter in her past life. He was the only one who dared to write about Kira's death. His article upset the emperor, and he had arrested the boy. Iris knew the man would show up at her party. She had planned everything and even used Kira. The girl comforts her husband. Everyone looks curious, so she agrees to do the interview. Gillette immediately looks scared. Jamie appears and is ready to begin his show. He even calls himself a celestial knight. Everyone stares at him weirdly, and he finally admits he is the Count's butler. he stops Iris from speaking and says he will handle the investigation. The man orders all the reporters to step out. He questions the first man, and he admits he wrote his articles based on the rumors. The second man says he had an interview and points out his informant. The girl is terrified and exposes the person who told her the rumors. It soon turns into a pointing contest as everyone tries to avoid the blame. Meanwhile, Gillette looks horrified. Jamie questions all the girls. They admit they never saw Alfred and Iris together. They all heard the rumors from one person. Gillette wants to run away, but it is too late. The maid next to her calls her out. Gillette refuses to take the blame and accuses the maids. Jamie can tell the girl is lying and gives her a dark look. Gillette insists she is innocent. She claims the maids are jealous of her. That doesn't work. So she tries to accuse Alfred. Well, she just made things worse because Jamie drags over a scared Alfred. He is determined to figure out the truth. Alfred isn't as dumb as Gillette. Jamie questions him, and the man denies having a relationship with Iris. The girl is furious and reminds him of the story he told at the Count's manor. Alfred claims he never spread such rumors. Gillette is desperate and asks the other maids for help. Jamie tells her they all denied hearing the story. The girl looks upset and accuses the maids of setting her up. They had all spread the rumors, but now they are trying to abandon her. Gillette is interrupted by her parents. They immediately kneel before the couple and beg them to forgive their wayward daughter. The girl can't believe her proud parents are kneeling. Iris mocks her for forcing her parents to apologize. Gillette finally realizes what she has done. She should never have messed with the Green family. Iris helps the girl's parents up. She glances at Gillette and says they shouldn't be the ones apologizing. The girl looks like she is in despair. Her delusions are ruined, and she immediately admits to the crime. She kneels and begs for Iris's forgiveness. She can hear the people around gossiping about her. They all think she will be fired. Everyone is shocked when Iris says there will be no punishment. She smiles like a saintess and says she forgives Gillette so she won't punish the girl. Everyone is impressed and praises Iris. Only Whittle can tell the woman isn't innocent. She is just playing politics. The place is filled with reporters. Since she forgave Gillette, every reporter will write an article and praise her kindness. But Whittle knows she could have settled the issue privately. She has disgraced the Murdy family and ruined their reputation. The best part is, no one will blame her. The boy watches the girl in amazement. She's really interesting. Iris is enjoying her bath and reading the articles about her. The girl is sure the reporters noticed her scheme yet. They still praise her. She is relieved and knows she has won their favor. But hearing them call her the Duke's flower still upsets her. She needs to get rid of the name. The girl is thinking about her sad life when Kira suddenly barges in. The man is holding a bottle of wine. Iris is horrified and tries to cover herself. Not like it is helping. She questions the man, but he boldly says he wants to bathe together and drink some wine. The girl finally calms down and the man prepares to toast. She wonders what they are celebrating. The man says her clean reputation, their marriage, and her new friendship with the reporters. Iris is pleased with all three, and the two share a toast. He tells her their wedding plans are going well. The issue with the Holy Kingdom has been resolved and they owe them a blessing. The girl is finally relieved. Kira catches a glimpse of her chest and almost falls into the bath. He shyly turns away and asks if she has been to a wedding. The girl has never attended one and he tells her they are stressful. He advises her to rest on that day. The man feeds her some grapes and Iris feels like she is being loved. The man once again notices that beautiful chest. This time, he doesn't hold back. He pulls the girl close and kisses her. Things quickly become steamy and Iris is ready to take things further. But the man refuses. Like a gentleman, he insists on waiting till their wedding night. Iris is upset because she wants to become his. The girl wonders when she started opening her heart to him. She realizes it all started in her past life. From the moment they first met, she had wanted him. Iris's past life was full of horrors. Her sister would manipulate her and force her to sleep with other men. Every time her husband found out, he would hit and scold her. Alfred never knew Brittany, the Empress, was forcing her sister to sell herself. He would whip Iris's legs and yell at her. Iris is once again dragged to the palace. She looks sad, which annoys Brittany. The girl says she has to seduce some men. Our heroine can't refuse because Brittany is the Empress. She always threatens and oppresses her. She drags Iris's hair and stares at her in disgust. She has always hated her sister since they were young. She pushes the girl away and orders her maids to dress her up for a party. Iris is in despair. She wonders if her life would be different if Brittany's man hadn't fallen in love with her. The girl is dragged to the party. She can barely walk and notices her injuries are getting worse. Alfred might be horrible, but she desperately wishes she were back at his home. The girl looks out the window and sees Brittany kissing a man. It turns out to be Kira, her sister's lover. Iris hopes she doesn't run into the man. Now what sort of plot twist is this? It begins to rain, and our heroine rushes outside. She immediately finds a spot and allows the rain to fall on her injuries. She knows she looks like a madwoman, but she doesn't care. Suddenly, she hears some men speaking. She looks around and sees Kira with his friend. The girl is terrified and quickly hides. She doesn't want to see him. The man hands over a holy relic to Kira. He warns him to be careful of some Piemondo and leaves. Iris is still hiding. She thinks she is safe, but the man has noticed her presence. He finds her hiding spot and is shocked to see her. He is worried she might have fallen ill. He notices her injured legs and looks upset. He tries to find someone, but the girl refuses to let him go. She begs him to ignore her. Kira is unhappy and says enduring the suffering wouldn't make it better. Iris has no choice. Only by enduring and hiding can she survive. The man doesn't want her pretty legs to be scarred and hands over some medicine. He promises to keep her secret. The man is about to leave, but Iris calls his name and thanks him. Kira looks like he is holding back. He immediately turns around and hands her the holy relic he just received. He calls them Triss's earrings and says they can bring her luck. The girl is surprised and wonders why he gave her. The man says he is giving her his luck. Iris is touched and begins to cry. The man holds her and prays she will always be lucky. Days pass, and Iris is on a walk with her husband when she notices Kira approaching. That day at the palace was the only time they met privately, but his kindness had warmed her broken heart. The girl watches him leave with a smile. She turns around and has no idea the man she was staring at is also watching her. The girl finally understands her feelings. From the moment they met, she had loved Kira. That is why she was desperate to save him in this life. Iris stares at his handsome face and calls him her only light. She suddenly leans over, which makes the man confused. The girl smiles like a flower and thanks him. She's glad she can finally say those words. Kira runs out of the bathroom. His wife always makes him weak. We see his face and the man is blushing. Even his little ears have turned red. He touches his chest and his heart is beating too fast. Iris is driving him crazy. He wanted to hold back, but he couldn't resist her lovely face. The man covers his face in shame. He had gone in to tease his wife and see her shy face. In the end, he was the one who got teased and ran away. Kira is still trying to recover when his naughty friends arrive. Wallace immediately notices his red face. Kira tries to drive him away, saying he doesn't want to talk. But it just makes Wallace even more curious. Jamie makes it worse and says the captain is going through hard times. Our male lead yells at him, but the butler isn't scared. He tells Kira his father has sent a reply about his wedding. He can tell the old man is very upset. Jamie advises him to talk to his father. The Count agrees and heads to the communication room. Wallace still isn't satisfied and asks about his hard times. The three men start another quarrel. Kira arrives at the communication room. We see a small globe, which was invented years ago by the magical engineers. It is called a communicator, but only the state and a few important persons have one. The Count looks frustrated. He never knew his secret marriage would cause so many problems. He starts the call, and the first thing he hears is his full name. Kira can tell he is in trouble. His father is furious. He immediately defends himself, which annoys his father. His son didn't even greet before bringing up his excuses. The old man says they didn't believe the rumors. They chose to trust the son they raised. Kira tries to explain, but his father isn't pleased. He asks if his wife is really the flower of the Whittle duchy. Everyone knows the man had hidden his younger daughter away and refused to show her to anyone. Kira's mother joins the call, and she is also upset. She isn't angry because he chose his own wife and held a secret marriage. She is furious because he married the Duke's daughter. Everyone knows Duke Whittle is a greedy man. For years, he took Brittany around high society, yet he kept the stunning Iris away. Everyone knows why. The man planned to sell his daughter. He paraded Brittany around so everyone would desire Iris more. And Kira's mother asks him what he paid the Duke to get Iris. The Count is frustrated and tries to deny everything. He thought his parents were relaxing in the countryside, but they had already found out the truth. His mother accuses him of lying because the day he took Iris away, the Whittle Duke received one of their family's mines. Kira is frustrated and wonders who is informing his parents. The old couple begins to cry. Their sweet son has turned into a liar. He is even buying women with money. Kira is frustrated and reminds the couple that he can hear them. His parents scold him for buying his wife and ask if Iris agreed. Kira can't tell them that his wife was the one who came up with the idea. He quickly says the girl agreed as well. The man suddenly becomes stern. His parents had called her Lady Whittle, and he reminds them she is now Countess Green. The old couple is speechless and decides they must see the situation for themselves. They will leave in the fastest carriage and arrive in 3 days. His parents warn him. If Iris were forced into this marriage, he would have to divorce her. Meanwhile, Brittany is meeting with her friends. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Because she always acts kind and pretends to like Iris, her friends are all glad the rumors have cleared up. Brittany smiles, but she is fuming inside. She wishes the rumors could have ruined Iris. Everyone is talking about her sister, and it is so painful. She feels like she is dying. Her best friend doesn't agree with the rest of the girls. She calls Iris cruel for questioning Gillette in public. Brittany is extremely pleased to hear this. She pretends to defend her sister, but claims Iris is petty. The other girls believe her. They think Iris was jealous because Gillette slept with her husband. Stop spreading fake rumors, girls. Brittany acts sad and says they might be right. The girls feel bad for making the innocent Brittany upset. What a joke. Just then, a maid appears with a letter. Brittany takes a look and immediately looks furious. This is her sister's wedding invitation. She sees the hostess's name and almost jumps out of her chair. The girls all notice her terrified look. They spot the wedding invitation and immediately start laughing. They believe Iris forced Kira to hold a wedding just to clear her name. Why is everyone so delusional? The girls have fun mocking Iris, but Brittany is having a panic attack. The hostess's name seems to have really terrified her. Her best friend notices her expression and grabs the paper. She takes a look and is shocked as well. The hostess of the party is the famous Countess Nelanicus. The girls are all surprised. Even the queen can't control the countess. Plus, everyone knows the woman liked Kira before. The news is too much for Brittany, and she calls her friends noisy. She can't believe Iris is marrying the Duke, and even the popular countess is hosting their wedding. She laughs like a crazy person, ignoring her confused friends. She is clearly unhappy, but still says they have to celebrate. We finally see the famous Countess Nelanicus. The lady is preparing the clothes for Iris's wedding. Jen appears by her side and mocks her friend. The countess had claimed she was unwilling, but she looks very excited. The lady acts nonchalant and says she is just helping Jen. Her friend has an evil smile as she reveals her brother has handed over all his wealth for this wedding. The countess is surprised that the stingy Kira could be so generous. Jen explains they need her help. The rumors have damaged their family's reputation, so this wedding is very important. Nelanicus asks if Kira had really married the Flower of Whittle. Jen confirms and even praises Iris's beauty. She suddenly teases her friend for liking her brother. Because of those rumors, everyone is expecting a catfight at the wedding. The countess is annoyed and wonders who spread such crazy rumors. She doesn't even care about Kira. The lady says she only agreed to host the wedding because she wants to be part of Iris's greatest event. She wants to show her support for the girl. She smiles playfully and says Iris should prepare for a surprise. Our heroine relaxes in bed, unaware of the plans being made. She wants to understand Kira and is reading about the Beastman's history. But as she reads further, she becomes uneasy. The first Beastman rebellion had failed, but Benedortem refused to give up. He hid in the shadows and tried to gather allies. He spread the word that the Beastman's ability was a gift from God. He claimed the Pope was jealous and killed the Beastman because he didn't receive God's gift. He met the wizards and convinced them they had this gift as well. Once the Pope gets rid of the Beastman, he will also attack them. Some magicians were swayed by his words and joined his group. Soon, the second Beastman rebellion began. The fight was so terrible that the seas became red with blood. Iris looks worried. If the past remains the same, Kira will start the third Beastman rebellion. The girl understands his decision and has no plans to watch her husband die. She has to make sure he wins the war. Iris hears a knock and quickly hides the book. She looks over and sees Kira standing there with his robe open. The man apologizes for disturbing her, but Iris can barely hear a word. All she can see is that delicious chest in front of her. The man joins her on the bed and notices her stiff face. He looks smug because he has gotten his revenge. The girl warns him not to tease her. Kira suddenly sighs and leans on her shoulder. He tells her they have a problem. His angry parents have heard about their wedding and will arrive in 2 days. The girl immediately becomes nervous. Kira has no idea how his parents will react because he has never had a woman. The girl can't hide her surprise. She accuses him of lying, but the man is serious. She keeps staring at him, unable to believe the handsome man has never had a girlfriend. Kira's face turns red immediately, and he asks her to repeat her words several times. The man can't hide his excitement and asks for a kiss. The girl is confused by his strange behavior. She reminds him that he always kissed her without asking. The man says he will from now on. He kisses her desperately and keeps calling her name. Iris isn't used to his clingy behavior. The man seems to have changed since his sister arrived. The girl nearly faints from lack of breath. The man notices his wife isn't breathing and quickly releases her. He almost kissed her to death. Kira is still feeling shy and admits her words had made him excited. He suddenly pulls her close and promises to protect her. He kisses her hand and admits his parents might still hurt her. He hates the thought of seeing her in pain. The girl says she is used to it, but Kira isn't happy. His wife has just recovered, and he won't let her get hurt again. Iris wonders what he will do if she suddenly becomes weak. The man vows to shield her if she ever needs to cry. Iris isn't pleased. She thanks Kira, but pushes him away. She has no plans to become a weak woman. She refuses to live as someone's flower again. A few days pass, and Kira's parents finally arrive. The two step out to welcome them, only to see a stern-looking couple. They don't look too pleased. Kira's father looks ready for battle, while his wife calmly sips her tea. She looks to the left and sees the nervous beastmen. She turns right and glances at the terrified maids. The woman isn't happy to see any of them and admires the pretty girl in front of her. Iris is nervous, but she still looks perfect. The woman even starts to believe the Duke was really protecting her from the world. She wonders how her silly wolf son won her heart. She decides to speak to the girl alone, but Kira immediately refuses. His mother is furious. He hid his marriage from them and now refuses to let her see his wife. Kira admits he is guilty, but still refuses to leave them alone when his mother hasn't accepted his wife's identity. The lady is angry and asks him about the mine. Before the two can fight, her husband stops her. The man believes his son has a good reason and says they should listen to them. The woman immediately calms down. She apologizes to Iris because she is about to say some harsh words. Our heroine isn't offended and even smiles. She tells the lady to speak comfortably. The Countess is impressed. Iris looks gentle, but she is actually strict. She starts questioning them about their relationship, and Iris admits she proposed to Kira. The man is shocked and never thought she would expose their secret. His father asks why, and she admits she was trying to escape from her father's house. We take a glimpse into Iris's past. We see our heroine running around because her hair is on fire. She screams for help, and a younger gouger quickly pours some water on her. He looks worried and asks who bullied her. Little Iris cries in pain. She is about to speak, but sees Brittany standing behind her, still holding the candle. She gives Iris a mean look and warns her to keep quiet. Our heroine jumps into Grouger's arms in fear. She is too terrified to speak. Things only get worse. Brittany pushes Iris into an abandoned warehouse. Our heroine asks what she did wrong. Her sister calls her an illegitimate daughter and says she is trying to steal her place. She is just jealous because everyone thinks Iris is the kingdom's beauty. She shoves the girl into the mud and laughs at her dirty face. She tells Iris she has to remain below her. She isn't satisfied and decides to lock the girl inside the building. Our heroine begs and pleads, but no one rescues her. Iris tells her story to Kira's parents. Brittany had locked herself up for days, and after the incident, she became claustrophobic. Her father and his wife would also hit her whenever they could. The couple looks shocked, but Iris isn't done. She tells them she was mocked and despised by everyone. She was forced to work like a maid, and even the servants abused her. But anyone who leaked her story would be killed. Everyone in the room looks horrified. Iris says the only rumors that spread all claimed she was the Duke's cherished daughter. Soon everyone called her his flower. She admits that her father planned to marry her to Alfred, so she sought Kira's help. The Countess watches Iris and knows she isn't lying. The girl looks strong, but she can tell she is really afraid. The woman finally smiles. She wouldn't abandon such a smart and pitiful person. She asks why the girl chose her son. Kira immediately interrupts and claims he wrote her letters because he wanted to find out the Duke's weakness. His parents must never learn that Iris knows his secret. His father seems satisfied, but his mother has one last question. She asks if Iris is happy. Our girl is nervous, but admits she has never been this happy in her whole life. The couple is left alone and immediately drops their stern act. They think Iris is beautiful and sweet. His mother even wishes she was their daughter. Her husband reminds her that the girl has married their son. She is now their youngest daughter. The two daughter stealers laugh and vow to protect her. Meanwhile, Brittany and her mother seem to be going on a trip. The girl seems to be thinking of something and smiles like a devil. It is a rainy night at the Green Mansion, and our heroine is having a nightmare. She keeps reliving those awful days with Brittany and cries as she begs for help. The girl wakes up screaming. Kira is upset to see his wife trembling and sobbing. Ever since she heard that Brittany would visit, she has been having nightmares every night. The man tries to comfort his wife. Iris apologizes for disturbing his sleep. She also feels bad for hiding her identity as the illegitimate daughter. The girl looks shocked when the man says he already knew. He became suspicious when her parents kept abusing their beautiful daughter. He didn't want to reopen her wounds, so he never asked. The man smiles as he wonders what he should do to make his wife happy. The girl is surprised and thinks hard. She comes up with the most ridiculous idea. She wants her husband to turn into a wolf and hug her. Kira is stunned by her wish, but the wife-pleaser is eager to do anything to make his wife happy, so he changes into his wolf form. Iris is happy and hugs the fluffy wolf. The man says he has a gift for her. He has prepared a magic relic called the Sleeve Stone. The girl cries out in shock, which makes the man suspicious. Iris laughs nervously and says the gift surprised her, but she secretly thinks her husband must never touch the stone. Our heroine might have lied a little. The girl has heard about the Sleeve Stone. The stone is used to produce good dreams, but it is also dangerous because it can trap its owner in an eternal sleep. Kira admits he is hiding some relics from the Holy Kingdom. Those items are too dangerous to move, so they have to leave them alone. The man is convinced he can control the Sleeve Stone and plans to give it to Iris. He wants her to have good dreams. The girl is unwilling. She is sure she won't be trapped in the stone, but is worried it might affect her husband. No one knows, but 3 years from now, Kira's parents and his sister will die in an accident. His younger brother will sink into despair and use the Sleeve Stone to drown his grief. Eventually, his soul will get trapped in the relic. Kira will do his best to save him, but his brother will become an empty shell. Iris is afraid her husband will bring the dangerous relic back. She hugs him and vows to destroy the stone with her own hands. A few days later, Kira drags Iris on a walk. The girl is worried about the stone, but the man says there are other methods. They arrive at a large field full of horses. Iris loves the view, but the man says the gift he prepared isn't here. He leads her to the stables, and Iris looks shocked when she sees the gift. Eugene is standing next to what looks like horses, but they have horns. The girl screams as she realizes they are unicorns. Kira warns her to keep it a secret. He explains that unicorns can hide their horns when they get older. They can also understand human speech. Iris admires the older unicorn, but looks disgusted when Kira says its name is White. His naming sense is really trash. She pets the mother unicorn, but the little one immediately runs over for some hugs. Iris asks for its name, but Kira says she cannot name it. The girl is surprised, but the man says it is hers. The girl stares at the unicorn in awe. The man stops talking when he sees her bright smile. Iris is very happy and vows to raise it well. Inside an abandoned castle, a man is having a meltdown. He slams his fist and wonders if everyone in his family has gone mad. No one seems to be stopping this marriage. The man makes up his mind to ruin the wedding, but first he has to escape this prison. Neither Iris nor Kybrandt realizes that beyond the trouble Brittany represents, another quiet danger is beginning to take shape. Elahart remains deeply dissatisfied with his brother's sudden decision to marry, and although he has not yet acted, his discontent lingers like a shadow waiting for the right moment to stretch across their lives. At the same time, Kybrandt's attention is divided, and Iris finds herself fully immersed in an entirely different challenge, one that is both exhausting and unexpectedly heartwarming. She is now responsible for raising a small unicorn foal, a creature so lively and mischievous that it seems to carry endless energy within its tiny body. Iris tries her best to keep up, but the little unicorn refuses to stay still for even a second, constantly darting around the stable and slipping away whenever she gets close. Despite her efforts, the situation quickly overwhelms her. The foal's unpredictable movements cause Iris to lose her balance more than once, and each fall leaves her breathless and increasingly frustrated. Eventually, she can no longer keep up with the chaos. She collapses onto a soft haystack, closing her eyes as she struggles to catch her breath. In that moment of stillness, she reflects on how difficult raising a foal truly is, far more challenging than she had ever imagined. Nathan has already provided her with an overwhelming amount of advice, enough to fill an entire encyclopedia on caring for baby unicorns, yet none of it feels useful in the face of real experience. What she needs now is not knowledge, but practice, patience, and endurance. Even so, her frustration never overshadows her affection. To Iris, the little unicorn remains the most adorable creature she has ever seen. Its playful nature, though troublesome, only deepens her attachment. She genuinely wants to tame it and build a connection, but the foal stubbornly resists her attempts, snorting and stepping away whenever she tries to touch it. This rejection leaves her slightly disappointed, though she refuses to give up. Nearby, Kybrandt watches everything unfold with a growing headache, his expression tightening as he observes the ongoing struggle. However, what truly unsettles him is not the difficulty Iris faces, but the way she looks at the unicorn, with a tenderness and warmth that mirrors the way she looks at him. That realization stirs an unfamiliar and uncomfortable jealousy within him. Unable to ignore the feeling, Kybrandt approaches Iris as she rests on the hay. He sits across from her, quietly studying her for a brief moment before suddenly leaning forward and kissing her. The action surprises Iris, and she instinctively pulls away, her expression filled with confusion. She questions his sudden behavior, while he challenges her reaction, wondering why she avoids him so quickly. A faint blush appears on her face as she explains that the foal is watching, making her feel self-conscious. The little unicorn is indeed standing nearby, staring directly at them. Its snorts carry an oddly sharp tone, almost as if it disapproves of the attention being diverted away from it. Kybrandt senses this and finds himself growing increasingly irritated. The atmosphere between him and the small creature becomes tense, charged with an unspoken rivalry. It feels as though an invisible current runs through the air, connecting them in silent opposition. In response, K-Brandt gently pulls Iris into his arms, preventing her from turning back toward the unicorn. He suggests that if she feels uncomfortable being affectionate under such watchful eyes, they should leave the stable and find a more suitable place. His low voice carries a subtle intensity that causes Iris to blush even more deeply. He then admits that being half-beast himself makes the situation feel strange, as though he cannot help but react instinctively to the bond forming between her and the unicorn. As time passes, the scene gradually shifts. Several days later, Iris is seen resting comfortably on a sofa, her posture relaxed as she leans back and tilts her head slightly. Her thoughts drift to the uneasiness she felt earlier that morning. K-Brandt has already left the manor at dawn, explaining that he needs to retrieve an important stone and will not return until closer to the wedding. His absence leaves a noticeable emptiness in the manor, one that Iris is not entirely accustomed to. She begins to realize just how much his presence has quietly become a part of her daily life. Despite this emptiness, Iris is not left alone. The residents of the manor continue to engage her, frequently approaching her with conversations and responsibilities that require her attention. Even in K-Brandt's absence, his parents remain present, occasionally seeking her out and involving her in warm and meaningful discussions. Iris genuinely enjoys these moments. The kindness and acceptance she receives from the Green family feel genuine, offering a comforting contrast to the cold and distant treatment she experienced in her previous life with Alfred's family. This difference does not go unnoticed, and it fills her with a sense of belonging she once believed she would never have. During one such conversation, K-Brandt's father casually brings up the unicorn, asking whether K-Brandt truly gifted it to her. Iris responds with a light laugh, confirming that it is indeed a gift, though she does not hide the challenges she faces while trying to tame it. K-Brandt's mother listens attentively before offering a gentle suggestion. She proposes that Iris give the little unicorn a name, explaining that naming a creature often helps establish a deeper bond and can make it easier to build trust. At first, Iris feels uncertain about the idea, but she takes the suggestion seriously, reflecting on its meaning. The image of the small unicorn fills her thoughts as she carefully considers what name would suit it best. After a brief moment of hesitation, she finally decides on a name that feels right. She chooses Windy. The response from K-Brandt's parents is warm and supportive, and their approval brings a bright smile to her face. In that moment, Iris feels surrounded by a comforting warmth, a feeling she had long been deprived of in her past life. It is a simple moment, yet it carries deep emotional significance for her. However, the pleasant atmosphere does not last. As the conversation shifts, K-Brandt's parents inform Iris that the Whittle family will soon be arriving at the manor. The news immediately changes her expression. They admit uncertainty about how to handle the situation, given the family's past cruelty toward her. Iris clenches her fists slightly, fully aware that the visit is unlikely to come from genuine concern. Instead, she recognizes it as an act driven by curiosity, and perhaps Brittany's desire to confirm her unhappiness in her current life. Rather than showing hesitation, Iris responds with calm determination. She tells them they are free to handle the Whittle family as they see fit, but she makes it clear that they should not argue on her behalf. She is capable of protecting herself and has no intention of relying on others to fight her battles. In fact, she has already devised a plan, one that will firmly establish her boundaries and make her position clear without unnecessary conflict. The following day, events unfold exactly as anticipated. The Whittle family arrives at the manor, expecting entry, but they are met with firm resistance. James greets them at the entrance with his usual polite and composed demeanor. Despite the visible anger of Duke Whittle, James remains unwavering. He delivers the message calmly, explaining that Iris is unable to receive visitors that day. His tone remains respectful, yet his stance leaves no room for negotiation. He advises them to leave and return another day, effectively denying them entry without escalating the situation. Duke Whittle is furious, his patience worn thin after being denied proper entry despite already crossing the manor gates. In his mind, simply arriving should guarantee them access, and he believes that being turned away is nothing short of an insult to his status. However, James remains calm and composed, maintaining a polite demeanor as he offers a carefully worded apology. He explains with subtle regret that the manor has not had sufficient time to prepare the guest rooms, noting that such inconvenience is common when visitors arrive without prior notice. His tone is respectful, but his stance is firm, leaving no room for negotiation. Brittany's mother quickly steps forward, unwilling to accept such treatment. She insists that James should speak with Iris again, convinced that there must be some misunderstanding. In her mind, Iris could never intentionally refuse her own family, and if she were informed properly, she would personally arrange the finest accommodations for them. However, Duke Whittle cuts her off abruptly, his fists clenched tightly as his anger deepens. To him, James is nothing more than a servant, a mere extension of the Green family's authority, and the idea that such a man dares to humiliate them only fuels his rage further. Without another word, he turns sharply and leaves the manor grounds, declaring that they will return the following day and expect to be received in a manner befitting their status. Brittany lingers for a moment, gripping her mother's arm tightly as she casts a sharp glare toward James. Her thoughts churn with irritation and disbelief, convinced that Iris has completely lost her senses. Over the past few days, they have repeatedly attempted to gain entry, only to be met with the same excuse that Iris is too busy to receive them. The repeated rejection infuriates her, and she quietly vows that once she finally steps inside, she will find a way to put Iris back in her place and remind her of proper conduct. Inside the manor, the atmosphere contrasts sharply with the tension outside. Iris sits comfortably, idly swinging her legs as if untouched by the conflict brewing at the gates. When James approaches and informs her that the Whittle family has returned once again, she listens with mild curiosity rather than concern. She asks whether they are still lingering outside as before, and upon hearing confirmation, she reflects briefly on the situation. With Brant gone for over a week in search of the stone and Jerithian also away handling her own matters, only a few familiar figures remain within the manor. James wonders aloud whether the Whittle family might finally give up and leave, but Iris calmly dismisses the idea. She understands their pride too well to believe they would retreat empty-handed. Instead, she smiles faintly and suggests that perhaps it is time to teach Duke Whittle a lesson in manners before Brant returns. James agrees without hesitation, recognizing both the necessity and the opportunity to correct their behavior. Eventually, the Whittle family is allowed into the manor, but their experience inside is far from welcoming. They are seated in the living room and left waiting for hours without any sign of hospitality. No refreshments are offered, no attention is given, and the silence grows heavier with each passing moment. Duke Whittle's frustration builds until he can no longer contain it. He declares angrily that if this continues, there is no difference between waiting inside and standing outside, criticizing the complete lack of courtesy and basic treatment. Throughout this, James observes quietly. Internally, he finds satisfaction in watching their patience unravel, but outwardly, he maintains his composed and professional demeanor. When he finally steps forward, he politely informs them that Iris remains occupied and requests that they continue to wait a little longer. This only deepens the Duke's anger, who demands to know how long they are expected to endure such excuses. Sensing the situation escalating, Brittany steps in and gently places a hand on her father's arm before requesting to speak with James privately. Though less outwardly enraged, her displeasure is evident. She questions whether Iris has instructed him to treat them in such a manner. James responds calmly, his expression unchanged, asking what she means. When she presses further, accusing him of being disrespectful, he politely counters that Iris has, in fact, instructed him to receive them with respect. He then adds that respect depends on who qualifies as a guest of the manor. His words leave Brittany momentarily speechless. Lowering his head slightly in a gesture of courtesy, James explains that considering how the Whittle family has treated Iris in the past, his current attitude is already more than polite. The statement shocks her, forcing her to confront a perspective she has never considered. Meanwhile, Duke Whittle rises in anger, dismissing James's words as nonsense, while Brittany's mother attempts to shift the blame back onto Iris, claiming she has deceived everyone once again. Seizing the moment, Brittany adopts a gentler tone, presenting herself as reasonable and understanding. She suggests that the situation is more complicated than it appears, and implies that Iris has acted this way due to circumstances beyond her control. Gradually, she introduces the idea that Iris never truly wanted this marriage, and may have been forced into it by Brant. She quickly covers her mouth as if startled by her own words, offering an apology while maintaining the impression of reluctant honesty. James listens without revealing his thoughts, though inwardly he grows irritated. He recognizes the deliberate attempt to slander Iris and recalls the instructions she had given him beforehand. Anticipating such tactics, Iris had advised him to appear as though he believed their words while guiding them toward the guest area. Following her plan, James offers to show them the West Wing, where the guest rooms are located. However, just as Iris predicted, the Whittle family shows no interest in inspecting the accommodations. Instead, they demand to see Iris immediately, abandoning their earlier complaints about etiquette. Observing this contradiction, James feels a quiet sense of amusement. Once he is certain they are no longer watching him, he allows himself a brief chuckle, reflecting on how their actions reveal their true intentions. Meanwhile, the Whittle family begins navigating the manor on their own, eventually arriving outside Iris's room. There, they encounter another obstacle in the form of Wallace and Eugene, who stand guard with unwavering expressions. Duke Whittle attempts to assert his authority, insisting on his right to see his daughter, but both men remain firm, stating that Iris cannot receive visitors at the moment. His frustration reaches its peak, and he raises his voice, declaring that he is tired of hearing the same excuse repeatedly. His words carry a tone of entitlement, suggesting that no matter the circumstances, Iris should prioritize her family above all else. This attitude does not sit well with Wallace and Eugene, whose patience begins to wear thin. Sensing the rising tension, Brittany intervenes once more, attempting to calm everyone with a gentle demeanor. However, her next remark only worsens the situation as she subtly implies that Iris may be hiding due to injuries caused by Keybrant. The accusation immediately angers Wallace, who is on the verge of reacting physically, but the situation shifts when Christina emerges from the room, drawn by the noise in the hallway. With the door now open, Duke Whittle attempts to push forward, but his effort fails as Wallace and Eugene block his path and force him back. He stumbles against the opposite wall, his pride wounded as much as his body. His wife and Brittany rush to his side while he demands to know how they dare lay hands on him. However, Wallace and Eugene respond in an unexpected way, treating his claim of authority with amusement rather than respect. Their reaction makes it clear that the servants are fully aware of how the Whittle family has treated Iris. Brittany begins to realize that the narrative she believed is no longer accepted within these walls. Yet she still clings to the belief that Iris remains beneath them, convinced that her sister must still obey their will. At that moment, Iris finally appears. She steps into the hallway with calm composure, her presence immediately silencing the chaos. She observes the scene briefly before questioning the noise, her tone steady and controlled. The Whittle family is visibly shaken by her demeanor. The timid and obedient girl they remember is gone, replaced by someone confident and self-assured. As they struggle to process this change, Iris calmly invites them into the room. Once inside, a heavy silence settles over them. The Whittle family hesitates, uncertain how to begin, while Iris remains completely at ease, observing them with quiet authority. When Duke Whittle questions her behavior, criticizing her lack of respect, Iris responds with a light, almost amused tone. She reminds them that she was never given a proper upbringing, subtly turning their criticism back on them. The remark leaves him speechless, his anger momentarily overshadowed by shock. Iris then introduces her maids, Christina and Alula, deliberately emphasizing their noble backgrounds. This revelation unsettles the Whittle family, forcing them to reconsider their approach. Realizing they can no longer treat Iris as they once did, they grow more cautious. Iris continues by questioning their early arrival, pointing out that the wedding invitation clearly stated the appropriate date. The family hesitates before offering an explanation, with Brittany suggesting concern as their motivation. She claims that Iris was taken away too suddenly and hints at rumors spreading about her situation. Iris responds with quiet amusement, seeing through the attempt immediately. She exposes Brittany's role in fueling those rumors, revealing that her actions were deliberate rather than innocent. As the tension rises, Iris drops any remaining pretense of politeness. She challenges Brittany directly, questioning whether she still appears to be the same person they once controlled. She recalls the hardships she endured, describing the treatment she suffered without hesitation. The words leave Brittany visibly shaken, unable to maintain her composed facade. The room grows heavier as Iris continues, making it clear that she is no longer afraid to speak the truth. She warns them that if they wish to call her a liar, they are free to do so, but any attempt to harm her will have consequences. She declares that she is prepared to sever all ties with the Whittle family if necessary, and will not hesitate to involve the authorities. Her confidence is unwavering as she points out that too many people now know the truth for it to be hidden any longer. The power dynamic has shifted completely, and the Whittle family can no longer control or silence her. With a faint smile, Iris reflects on the support she now has and the strength she has gained. In that moment, it becomes clear that she's no longer the powerless girl they once knew, but someone fully capable of standing against them. After leaving Iris's room, Brittany is seething with anger. The conversation has not gone the way she expected, and being forced to withdraw only fuels her frustration. She immediately turns to Duke Whittle, demanding to know whether he truly intends to let the matter end this way. However, the Duke's expression is far more restrained. Though displeased, he understands the reality of the situation better than anyone else. Deep down, he recognizes that Iris is no longer under their control, no matter how much he might wish otherwise. More importantly, her connection to the Green family places her in a position of advantage, one that the Whittle family cannot afford to ignore or disrespect. With a heavy sigh, the Duke straightens himself and firmly states that they have no choice but to step back for now. His words only deepen Brittany's anger, and she begins to protest, her voice rising with emotion. Yet her father cuts her off, reminding her that retreating in this moment does not mean surrender. It simply means that provoking conflict now would be unwise. He warns her sternly to obey him and avoid reckless actions, making it clear that her future depends on her ability to remain patient and strategic. Though unwilling, Brittany is forced into silence, her frustration simmering beneath the surface. Elsewhere in the manor, Iris walks calmly alongside James. When he informs her that the Whittle family intends to remain at the manor until the wedding concludes, she shows no sign of surprise. She has already anticipated this outcome. In her mind, their decision is driven by opportunity rather than affection. With the royal family likely to send a representative to the wedding, the Whittles are eager to present themselves favorably. Iris finds herself mildly curious about how convincingly they will attempt to play the role of a caring and united family. However, her thoughts soon drift elsewhere, towards something far more personal. Turning to James, she asks with quiet anticipation whether Keybrandt is truly expected to return the next day. Upon receiving confirmation, a subtle shift crosses her expression. A faint sadness lingers in her eyes as memories of her past life resurface. She reflects on how two people who once shared a complicated bond are destined to meet again. In the past, their union had been one of convenience rather than love. Brittany had gained the status she desired, while Keybrandt, burdened by loss, had needed support. Yet this time, Iris is determined to change that fate. She wants to ensure that Keybrandt will never again be placed in a position where he must rely on such circumstances. In the days leading up to his return, Iris finds herself plagued by restless nights. The arrival of the Whittle family seems to have stirred old wounds, making her nightmares more vivid and difficult to escape. Though she has stood her ground against them, the lingering pain from her past continues to surface in her dreams. Night after night, she tosses and turns, caught in shadows that refuse to fade. On one such night, as the darkness of her dreams tightens its grip, an unexpected presence enters her room. Keybrandt returns quietly, slipping into the manor under the cover of night and entering through her window. His journey has been long and exhausting, yet his concern for Iris drives him forward. Upon seeing her trapped in another nightmare, his expression softens with pity. He sits beside her and gently reaches out, stroking her neck in an attempt to calm her. However, her reaction is filled with fear, even in her sleep, as though she cannot distinguish comfort from danger. Observing this, Keybrandt retrieves the protective stone he has brought with him. Holding it firmly, he activates its power, watching closely as its effect takes hold. Gradually, Iris's restless movements begin to settle. Her breathing evens out, and the tension in her expression fades. Satisfied that the stone has worked, he leans down and presses a gentle kiss to her forehead before quietly wishing her peace. By morning, Iris awakens feeling refreshed in a way she has not experienced for a long time. The absence of nightmares leaves her both relieved and surprised. As she stretches, a soft smile forms on her lips, but it quickly fades when she realizes she is not alone. Keybrandt lies beside her, his presence unexpected yet strangely comforting. Her sudden movement stirs him awake. Still half asleep, he greets her with a quiet warmth, while she looks at him with astonishment, wondering when he arrived. Though slightly groggy, he simply acknowledges her, his demeanor calm but subtly pleased. She questions why he did not wake her, but he explains that he had tried and failed, appearing slightly embarrassed by the admission. Their conversation shifts naturally, and Iris expresses a quiet happiness at seeing him again. Keybrandt responds sincerely, pleased by her reaction and glad that the protective stone has helped her rest. His words remind Iris of similar gestures from the past, and for a moment she allows herself to hope that things will be different this time. As they sit together, Keybrandt draws her closer, asking what occupies her thoughts. Iris answers shyly, mentioning her dreams, though she carefully avoids revealing their deeper meaning. When he presses her for details, she deflects with a light tone, claiming she had been dreaming about her unicorn, Windy. This answer immediately sparks a hint of jealousy in him, though he masks it with playful annoyance. Their interaction grows softer, filled with warmth and unspoken emotion. Iris studies him closely, as though trying to confirm that he is truly there. For a brief moment, doubt creeps into her mind, making her question whether this is reality or simply another illusion created by her dreams. Seeking reassurance, she reaches out, her touch hesitant at first, as though grounding herself in the present. Keybrandt notices her uncertainty and gently steadies her, bringing her back to awareness. His reaction carries both restraint and sincerity, revealing his struggle to maintain control in the face of his growing feelings. Iris quickly realizes her actions and pulls back, embarrassed, while he looks away, equally affected but composed. Despite the tension, the moment does not break. Instead, it shifts into something deeper, a quiet understanding that neither of them fully voices. When Keybrandt pulls her close again, their connection becomes more evident, their emotions conveyed through subtle gestures rather than words. Yet even then, he remains mindful, holding himself back from crossing boundaries that might make her uncomfortable. Eventually, the moment softens, and they settle into a calmer state. Iris leans against him, her thoughts drifting once more, while Keybrandt admits that his hurried return has left him exhausted. His words carry a hint of humor, easing the tension between them. Their conversation turns lighter as he brings up Windy again, unable to fully hide his lingering jealousy. Iris laughs, sharing her experiences with the mischievous unicorn, describing how it eagerly snatches food without care. Keybrant responds with mock seriousness, warning her to be cautious, though his tone reveals more affection than concern. Sensing his mood, Iris gently changes the subject, asking about the protective stone. At this, Keybrant nods and begins searching through the bed, clearly intending to show her something. A few moments pass, and before the sheets are even disturbed, Keybrant reveals what he has been hiding. With a quiet sense of pride, he presents Iris with a delicate bracelet adorned with shimmering blue gems. The piece catches the light beautifully, its craftsmanship both elegant and refined. Naturally drawn to it, Iris reaches out, her curiosity evident, but Keybrant quickly pulls it back, a faint smile forming on his lips as he stops her from touching it. His reaction is not playful alone as he begins to explain that the bracelet is no ordinary ornament. It is a relic, one that carries power but also risk. According to him, the item can be dangerous to anyone who harbors deep unhappiness or thoughts of self-harm. His words catch Iris off guard, and her expression shifts to one of surprise. She questions whether he truly sees her as someone burdened by such darkness. In response, Keybrant's demeanor changes noticeably. The lightness fades from his face, replaced by something heavier, something more serious. He admits that there are moments when she reminds him of someone deeply wounded. Despite her strength and pride, there are times when she appears fragile in his eyes, as though she carries unseen scars. Hearing this, Iris's mood softens. She cannot completely dismiss his concern, as part of her knows that his observation is not entirely wrong. However, she also understands that she is no longer the same person she once was. The darkness that once consumed her belongs to a different life, one she has already left behind. As she studies Keybrant, she notices the intensity of his concern, the genuine fear hidden beneath his composed exterior. It becomes clear to her that his worry comes from a place of deep care. Originally, Iris has considered discarding the protective stone he gave her, wanting to distance herself from reminders of her past vulnerability. Yet, after experiencing its calming effect and seeing how much reassurance it brings to him, she begins to reconsider. Instead of rejecting it, she decides to keep it for the time being. Moving closer to him, she gently reassures him that she will not disappear, no matter what happens. Taking his hand, she expresses her gratitude, admitting that she appreciates the way he looks out for her. She then makes a request, asking him to promise that the protective stone will never be lost or used by anyone else. Though slightly surprised by her insistence, Keybrant does not question her further. Instead, he pulls her into a quiet embrace and agrees without hesitation. In that moment, he also reveals his affection, acknowledging that despite her occasional complaints, his feelings for her run deep. Not long after, the calm atmosphere is interrupted by the arrival of Gerithian. Her presence brings a sudden burst of energy into the manor as she rushes toward Iris and embraces her warmly. Her concern is immediate, asking how Iris has been managing in her absence. Iris responds with a gentle smile, reassuring her that everything has been fine, before returning the question. Their interaction carries a natural ease, reflecting the bond they share. Gerithian quickly shifts the topic, teasingly asking whether Iris is ready to spend the family fortune and whether she is enjoying the wedding preparations. This catches Iris completely off guard. The idea that such extravagant resources are being used for her wedding is something she has not yet fully grasped. For a brief moment, she wonders if Gerithian is exaggerating or joking, but the seriousness beneath her tone suggests otherwise. Realizing she has nearly forgotten something important, Gerithian suddenly becomes animated again and announces that she has someone to introduce. She brings in Nelanicus, presenting her as a trusted colleague from the academy. Nelanicus greets Iris with graceful composure, her presence immediately commanding attention. Gerithian proudly mentions her reputation, emphasizing how well-known and respected she is within social circles. Iris recognizes the name instantly, though not from this life. In her past, Nelanicus has held immense influence, far surpassing even Brittany in social standing. She has been a central figure in high society, someone whose presence could elevate any gathering. Eventually, she has risen to even greater heights, becoming a figure of authority and admiration. Remembering this, Iris studies her more carefully, aware that this encounter holds significance beyond the present moment. As Gerithian and Nelanicus exchange lighthearted remarks, their familiarity becomes evident, and Iris observes them with quiet interest. Her thoughts drift briefly to a memory of attending one of Nelanicus's gatherings long ago, a rare occasion that has left a lasting impression. When their eyes meet, there is a pause, a moment that feels deeper than a simple introduction. Iris senses something unspoken in Nelanicus's gaze, as though she is trying to understand her in ways that go beyond appearances. Choosing to move forward, Iris greets her politely, acknowledging her reputation and suggesting a more casual form of address. Nilanicus responds warmly, accepting the gesture and offering the same in return. The exchange creates a comfortable atmosphere, and though the room falls briefly silent, it is not an awkward silence, but one filled with quiet understanding. From Nilanicus's perspective, Iris is not at all what she expects. She has assumed that the sister of Brittany, often praised within their social circle, would resemble her family in demeanor. Instead, she finds someone entirely different. Iris carries herself with a gentle strength, a balance of kindness and firmness that sets her apart. There is a confidence in her that suggests experience, as though she understands the world in ways others might not. This contrast intrigues Nilanicus, leading her to question the accuracy of the rumors she has heard. Meanwhile, Iris notices Nilanicus's prolonged attention and becomes slightly curious about it. Before she can address it, Gerithian steps in, assuming the confusion stems from common rumors. She reassures Iris that Nilanicus has no personal interest in Keybrandt, clarifying that their relationship is far from romantic. This revelation surprises Iris, raising new questions in her mind about Nilanicus's involvement in the wedding preparations. However, before she can explore this further, the atmosphere shifts abruptly. Brittany enters the room without warning, her presence immediately disrupting the calm. Believing Iris to be alone, she begins to speak with visible irritation, questioning her actions and behavior. The tension in the room rises instantly, drawing the attention of both Gerithian and Nilanicus. And only after noticing their presence does Brittany realize her mistake. Her expression changes, and the confidence she entered with falters. Gerithian responds with a polite yet clearly sarcastic remark, highlighting the lack of proper introduction. Caught off guard, Brittany struggles to regain composure, offering an awkward greeting while trying to process the situation. Her attention then shifts to Nilanicus, and her surprise deepens. Recognizing her immediately, Brittany feels a mixture of admiration and frustration. She has long desired to form a connection with someone of Nilanicus's influence, hoping to gain her support within social circles. Yet now, standing before her, she realizes that Nilanicus's attention is not directed toward her, but toward Iris. This realization unsettles her. The opportunity she has always sought appears to be slipping away, and worse, it seems to favor the very person she resents. As these thoughts take hold, her composure weakens, and a subtle tremor runs through her. Iris notices the change instantly. Observing her sister's reaction, she recognizes the unease beneath the surface. For a brief moment, she reflects on the irony of the situation, realizing that even Brittany, who has always appeared confident and untouchable, has her own fears. Instead of confronting her directly, Iris chooses a different approach. She remains calm, composed, and quietly observant, allowing the situation to unfold while subtly guiding the interaction in her favor. Iris smiles brightly, her expression warm and inviting as she welcomes Brittany into the room. She remarks that it is a pleasant surprise to have her join them, especially since such important guests are present. With calm composure, Iris explains that it would be fitting for Brittany to dine alongside them. Outwardly, her tone is gentle and considerate, but inwardly, she finds a certain amusement in the situation. Sharing a meal with Gerithian and Nilanicus while Brittany sits among them feels almost ironic, and she cannot help but anticipate how the moment will unfold. From Brittany's perspective, however, the situation feels completely different. What Iris considers amusing becomes, for her, deeply uncomfortable. She cannot shake the feeling that Iris is deliberately displaying her connection with Gerithian and Nilanicus, almost as if she is subtly asking whether Brittany feels jealous. The thought unsettles her, especially because these are individuals she herself has long struggled to approach. Lost in these thoughts, Brittany fails to notice Iris calling her several times. It is only when Iris directly questions her sudden distraction that she snaps back to reality, realizing she has once again embarrassed herself. She quickly tries to recover, insisting that nothing is wrong. Iris responds thoughtfully, suggesting that perhaps Brittany simply did not expect to be invited. She adds that Brittany must already be familiar with Gerithian and Nilanicus, given her frequent attendance at social gatherings. Turning to the two guests, Iris casually asks whether they know her sister. The question causes a visible change in Brittany's expression. Her face pales slightly, and a sense of unease settles over her. Iris continues with a gentle smile, mentioning how admired Brittany is at such events, noting that many people are eager to befriend her. Nilanicus's response is calm but cutting. She remarks that if such friendships exist, she is entirely unaware of them. The statement lands heavily, leaving Brittany momentarily speechless. She forces a laugh, attempting to dismiss the situation, but the discomfort lingers. Realizing she is losing control of the conversation, she abruptly stands and offers an apology, clearly intending to leave as quickly as possible. Iris, without even lifting her gaze from her meal, calmly asks where Brittany intends to go. She reminds her that she herself claimed to have come to eat. Brittany hesitates, forcing a smile as she tries to maintain her composure. She explains that she should not have come, suggesting that her actions were selfish and driven only by a desire to see Iris. Iris looks at her with a soft smile, but to Brittany, it feels like a warning rather than kindness. A sense of foreboding settles in her chest, as though she instinctively knows that the situation is far from over. Iris reassures her gently, telling her not to worry and encouraging her to remain seated. However, beneath the warmth of her words lies an unmistakable firmness. When Brittany meets Iris's gaze, she feels a sudden chill, as though the invitation is no longer optional. Reluctantly, she returns to her seat, her movements lacking their usual confidence. She begins picking at the food on her plate, her appetite completely gone. Nelanicus casually comments on proper etiquette, pointing out that leaving the table abruptly creates unnecessary disturbance. Her tone is composed, yet her words carry weight. Meanwhile, Gerithian remains focused on Iris, urging her to continue eating and keeping the conversation lively. The atmosphere around the table becomes animated, filled with light conversation and laughter, but Brittany feels completely disconnected. The voices blur together, and she cannot focus on anything being said. Frustration builds within her as she realizes she cannot even contribute to the discussion. She begins to resent Iris once again, convinced that everything happening is somehow her fault. In her mind, she imagines an alternate reality where K-Brand had chosen her instead. In that version of events, she would not be sitting here feeling out of place and ignored. Iris, who has been quietly observing her, suddenly speaks up with concern. She asks whether Brittany is feeling unwell, noting how unusually quiet she has been. Her tone carries a hint of curiosity, as though she is genuinely interested in her sister's state. She then suggests, with a touch of playful innocence, that perhaps being in the presence of Gerithian and Nelanicus is making her uncomfortable. Brittany quickly denies it, forcing another strained smile. She insists that nothing is wrong, though she admits that speaking might lead to misunderstandings. Her attempt to maintain composure is short-lived, as Gerithian immediately questions her statement. With a polite but sharp expression, she wonders whether Brittany is intentionally trying to make Iris feel guilty. Gerithian continues, suggesting that Brittany appears to be someone who claims to care deeply for her younger sister, yet her behavior tells a different story. Caught off guard, Brittany tries to defend herself, her voice betraying her growing anxiety. However, Nelanicus intervenes before she can say much more. Her interruption is calm but decisive, effectively ending the exchange. She redirects the conversation, suggesting that discussing Iris's wedding preparations is far more important. The dismissal is subtle yet unmistakable. Brittany is left stunned. She struggles to process what has just happened, unable to accept being brushed aside so easily. The realization that she has been deemed irrelevant in this moment unsettles her deeply. Clenching her fists beneath the table, she silently vows that this will not last forever. She convinces herself that in the future, when her status rises, she will prove her worth and make those who overlook her regret it. The tension in the room shifts suddenly when the dining room door opens. James's voice announces K-Brant's arrival, drawing everyone's attention. Without hesitation, K-Brant enters, his focus immediately locking onto Iris. His expression softens as he approaches her, clearly having missed her during his absence. Without concern for the others present, he greets her warmly, his actions reflecting his affection. Iris responds with equal warmth, asking whether he has eaten. He mentions that he had something small while working, but his attention remains fixed on her. With a gentle eagerness, he asks whether she has finished her meal. The question surprises her slightly, prompting her to ask why it matters. He explains that he wishes to take her somewhere, his tone carrying quiet excitement. Their interaction does not go unnoticed. Gerithian clears her throat, mildly annoyed that her brother seems oblivious to everyone else in the room. K-Brant acknowledges her and Nelanicus, offering a brief greeting while explaining that Iris's presence has distracted him from everything else. His remark draws a complaint from Gerithian, who notes that he always behaves this way around Iris. Meanwhile, Brittany watches in silence, her disbelief growing. She cannot comprehend how deeply K-Brant seems to care for Iris. The attention he gives her feels effortless, natural, and genuine, something Brittany has never been able to secure for herself. Iris gently reminds K-Brant of her sister's presence, mentioning that they have met before. However, he barely acknowledges Brittany, offering nothing more than a passing glance. His lack of interest is unmistakable, reinforcing her growing sense of invisibility. Instead, he focuses entirely on Iris, confirming once again that she has finished eating before guiding her out of the room. Left behind, Brittany presses her lips together, struggling to contain her frustration. The realization that she has been completely overlooked weighs heavily on her, and she fights the urge to lash out. Outside, the atmosphere shifts as K-Brant leads Iris toward the garden. Waiting there is a striking black horse, its presence commanding attention. He explains that he wishes to take her somewhere special. Noticing her slight hesitation, he gently asks whether she is afraid. Iris admits that she simply prefers walking but does not object. K. Brandt studies her carefully, sensing that her answer is not entirely truthful. Without pressing further, he reassures her calmly and prepares the horse. With practiced ease, he mounts first, taking a moment to compose himself before extending his hand toward her. Though nervous, Iris trusts him. She reaches out, allowing him to pull her up and settle her securely in front of him. Once she is steady, he asks if she is ready, and after a brief pause, she nods. Moments later, they are in motion, the horse breaking into a swift gallop. The sudden speed startles Iris, and she instinctively closes her eyes, holding on tightly. The wind rushes past them, and the movement feels overwhelming at first. Sensing her discomfort, K. Brandt reassures her, encouraging her to look ahead. Gradually, she opens her eyes, and the view before her begins to unfold. The scenery is breathtaking. A shimmering lake reflects the surrounding trees, its surface glowing under the light. The beauty of the landscape contrasts sharply with the tension of the manor, offering a sense of peace and escape. K. Brandt slows the horse, allowing her to take it all in. He explains that he wanted to bring her away from the manor, away from the pressures and the presence of Brittany. With his arm around her, he keeps her close, not rushing to dismount. There is a quiet sincerity in his actions as he admits that he simply wanted to share this moment with her, to let her experience something beautiful, even if only for a short while. Iris smiles softly, her thoughts lingering on how gentle, attentive, and considerate K. Brandt always is toward her. There is a quiet warmth in her expression, one that does not go unnoticed. K. Brandt, catching that look, grows slightly shy and admits that if she continues to look at him that way, he might take it as an invitation to kiss her. Iris quickly reacts, flustered, trying to clarify that she had not meant anything of the sort. Her reaction only amuses him. With a light laugh, he dismisses the moment as a joke before gracefully stepping down from the horse. He then invites her to walk with him, explaining that this place will soon change and may not be accessible again for some time. After helping Iris down carefully, she asks why returning here would become difficult. K. Brandt explains that Jarethian has chosen this location as the site for the wedding ceremony, and construction is set to begin the following day. The news surprises Iris. She cannot help but think about the enormous cost such a project would require, but K. Brandt quickly reassures her, telling her not to concern herself with such matters. He admits with a hint of awkwardness that while he cannot yet offer her grand personal gifts, he can at least ensure that their wedding is nothing short of magnificent. Iris responds immediately, shaking her head as she insists that she should be the one thinking about what she can do for him. Her tone is sincere, but she also carries a playful energy. K. Brandt laughs at her words, remarking that he is far from being a useless husband. Iris continues the playful exchange, explaining that it is not about usefulness, but about the opportunities she now has. With a bright laugh, she imagines a future where she spoils him with fine shoes, elegant suits, and exquisite jewelry. K. Brandt looks at her, slightly confused but clearly touched by her enthusiasm. Before he can fully express his thoughts, Iris interrupts him again, teasingly asking whether her behavior makes him want to tease her in return. He admits that she understands him perfectly. With that, he asks her to close her eyes. Though curious, Iris complies without hesitation, trusting him completely while wondering what kind of playful surprise he has in mind. And in the very next moment, she lets out a startled cry as K. Brandt suddenly lifts her and leaps into the lake with her in his arms. The splash breaks the calm of the surroundings, and his laughter echoes across the water. He admits that this was exactly the kind of joke he had been planning, clearly pleased with how it turned out. Carefully, he steadies Iris in the water, making sure she is safe. As Iris regains her composure, she looks around and notices how clear the lake water is, its surface shimmering under the light. K. Brandt gently reminds her to be cautious, mentioning that some areas are deeper than they appear. However, his warning proves unnecessary, as Iris has no intention of moving away from him. In fact, neither of them seems eager to create distance. A quiet calm settles between them once more. Instead of speaking, they simply remain close, appreciating each other's presence and the peaceful beauty surrounding them. The moment feels suspended in time, as though neither wishes for it to end. Eventually, K. Brandt breaks the silence, asking why she is looking at him so intently. Iris answers honestly, explaining that his smile is so captivating that she cannot look away. Her words draw her closer to him, and in response, he holds her more securely. The connection between them deepens, filled with warmth and quiet happiness. For K. Brandt, the moment feels almost too perfect, something he wishes he could extend indefinitely. However, he becomes increasingly aware of the situation. The cool water sharpens his senses, and with Iris's soaked appearance, he finds it harder to maintain his usual composure. Realizing they cannot linger too long, he decides to break the moment before it goes too far. Suddenly, he splashes water at her, catching her completely off guard. Iris reacts instantly, glaring at him with playful indignation. Brant laughs, offering a quick excuse, explaining that if they remain in the water any longer, her maids will certainly scold him, regardless of the warm weather. His reasoning only irritates her further, and he quickly realizes his miscalculation. Determined to retaliate, Iris chases after him, attempting to splash him in return. What follows is a lighthearted exchange, filled with laughter and movement. The tension from earlier disappears entirely as they enjoy the simple joy of each other's company. Both silently wish for more moments like this, free from pressure and expectations. Eventually, they return to the manor. The moment they step inside, Iris is quickly guided away to warm up, despite her attempts to explain that they had only been in the water briefly. As she begins drying her hair, there is a knock at the door. James's voice follows, asking for permission to enter. Iris has already been meaning to speak with him, so she immediately allows him in. Her curiosity leads her to ask about Brittany and what happened after she left the dining hall. James explains that Brittany remained seated, unable to engage with Gerithian and Nilanicus, who seemed rather satisfied with the silence. Iris considers this and concludes that the situation must have deeply frustrated her sister. She wonders quietly what Brittany might attempt next. Shifting the topic, Iris asks James the reason for his visit. His hesitation is unusual, immediately signaling that something is wrong. With a concerned tone, he informs her that a new guest has arrived at the manor, someone whose presence does not seem to bring good news. The guest has specifically requested to meet Iris privately, but James is uncertain whether allowing such a meeting would be wise. The visitor is soon revealed to be Groger. He waits in the living room, his posture heavy and his expression filled with regret. It is clear from his demeanor alone that he brings troubling news. As Iris joins him, he apologizes immediately, explaining that he has failed in a matter she entrusted to him. He informs her that the gold mine has collapsed and become completely blocked. Despite multiple attempts to clear it from different directions, every path has been obstructed by heavy rock. He expresses deep regret, believing he has disappointed her trust. However, Iris does not react with fear or panic. Instead, she remains calm and composed, asking specific questions about the situation. She inquires about the northern wall of the mine, and Groger confirms that he has personally inspected it. According to him, the rock there is far too solid for traditional methods to penetrate. Her next suggestion surprises him completely. With steady confidence, Iris asks whether explosives have been considered. The idea shocks Groger, who immediately rejects it, explaining that such a method would be extremely dangerous. The risk of collapse is too great, and lives could be lost in the process. Yet Iris does not waver. She calmly insists that the mine will not collapse and that no one will be harmed. Her certainty is unwavering, which only deepens Groger's concern. He tries once more to reason with her, emphasizing the responsibility he holds and the potential consequences of such a decision. Still, Iris remains resolute. She assures him that she fully understands the risks and is willing to take responsibility. Her confidence is not reckless but calculated, as though she already knows the outcome. With a calm smile, she asks him to trust her judgment, promising that they will not regret this decision. Iris reflects on the events of her past life, where the same gold mine had once been abandoned for identical reasons. Back then, the mining operation had come to a sudden halt, and the consequences had fallen squarely on her shoulders. The Whittle Duke had been furious, accusing her of being useless despite previously believing she could bring value to the family. In the end, he had shifted all blame onto her, refusing to hold Alfred accountable. Alfred had rarely been present, often away from responsibility, making Iris an easy target. She remembers clearly how unfair those accusations had been. Neither the marriage nor the decision to acquire the mine had ever been hers, yet she had borne the consequences of both. The Whittle Duke, unwilling to accept defeat, had taken matters into his own hands. When the mine collapsed, he had insisted on using explosives to clear the blockage. Many had tried to dissuade him, warning of the danger and the potential loss of life, but he had ignored them all. The safety of others had never been his concern. Explosives were eventually used, and in a twist that felt almost cruel in its irony, the outcome had been extraordinary. Instead of destruction, the explosion had revealed a hidden treasure deep within the mine, something far more valuable than anyone had anticipated. That discovery had come shortly before Iris's death, leaving a lasting impression on her memory. Because of that experience, Iris now holds absolute confidence in her current decision. She knows that the explosion will not bring ruin, but will instead open the path to unimaginable wealth. Her calmness is not born from ignorance, but from certainty shaped by what she has already lived through. And then sometime later, James discusses the situation with Brant, carefully pointing out how unusual Iris's decision appears. He explains that Groger, despite his concerns, has ultimately chosen to trust Iris and proceed according to her instructions. Brant listens quietly before stating that the explosives should indeed be used. His response surprises James, who had expected hesitation or intervention. James questions whether Brant truly intends to remain uninvolved, especially considering that while the mine belongs to Iris, the matter still affects the wider county. He warns that if anything goes wrong, the consequences could harm Iris's reputation, particularly after she has only just escaped damaging rumors. Brandt acknowledges the risk, but remains firm. He decides not to interfere, and instructs James to allow Iris to handle the matter as she sees fit. His decision is not made lightly. As he stands by the window later, his thoughts linger on Iris and the mystery surrounding her actions. He cannot ignore the pattern he has begun to notice. Iris often behaves as though she possesses knowledge beyond what others can see. From their very first meeting to the moment she faced him without fear in his transformed state, she has consistently demonstrated an unusual sense of certainty. He recalls that it was Iris who had first suggested acquiring the mine. Under normal circumstances, news of a collapse so soon after operations begin would cause panic due to the financial loss involved. Yet Iris has remained completely composed. This composure leads Brandt to question whether she had anticipated this outcome all along. The thought lingers in his mind, difficult to dismiss. At the same time, Iris is lost in her own thoughts. She estimates that the positive news about the mine will likely arrive around the time of the wedding. However, she is also aware that the future is no longer as predictable as it once seemed. Her actions have already begun to alter the course of events, and she understands that she can no longer rely solely on past knowledge. Because of this, she recognizes the importance of surrounding herself with capable and intelligent people. As she leans back against the sofa, her mind shifts to another matter entirely. She begins considering the need to establish trade relations with the Toller Kingdom, understanding that such alliances will be crucial moving forward. Her thoughts are interrupted when Brandt enters the room. His expression reveals nothing of the hours he has spent contemplating her behavior. Iris looks at him with mild surprise, asking if his discussion with James has truly taken so long. Brandt sits beside her and explains that he has had other matters to consider as well. As he studies her more closely, he notices the faint signs of exhaustion on her face. It is clear that she has been handling many responsibilities recently. There is a brief pause before Brandt decides to address the question that has been weighing on his mind. With some hesitation, he asks whether she possesses the ability to see the future. The question catches Iris completely off guard, sending a wave of panic through her. She does not understand how he has arrived at such a conclusion, yet she cannot deny that his reasoning is not entirely unfounded. Brandt explains his thoughts calmly, pointing out how she often seems to know things in advance and how her reaction to the mine incident has been unusually composed. He moves slightly closer, suggesting that perhaps she possesses a unique ability, something similar to his own connection with relics. Iris is left momentarily speechless. She has always known that this moment might come, yet she feels entirely unprepared now that it has arrived. The truth is complicated. While she does have knowledge of past events, she cannot guarantee that the future will unfold in the same way. She remembers how she once tried to change Brandt's fate, a fate that had led to suffering and an unjust end. Even now, she is uncertain whether telling him about her past life would bring understanding or disbelief. Although she trusts that Brandt would never harm her, this particular secret makes her confidence falter. The weight of it is too great, too difficult to explain. Her silence does not go unnoticed. Brandt senses the shift in her mood, recognizing the melancholy that settles over her. He understands that she is holding back something significant, but he also realizes that pushing her may only create distance between them. With a quiet sigh, he admits that he may be mistaken. At the same time, Iris responds by explaining that she cannot predict the future. She lowers her gaze and describes her actions as the result of careful calculation, reasoning based on knowledge of the past and present. In her explanation, she suggests that understanding patterns can sometimes make outcomes easier to anticipate. Brandt listens, a faint smile appearing as he considers her words. He questions whether she arrived at her earlier conclusions through similar reasoning, including how she identified certain truths about those around them. Iris maintains her explanation, insisting that it is all logic combined with confidence in her decisions. Despite her answer, Brandt remains aware that there is more she is not saying. He takes her hand gently, bringing it closer as he admits that many questions still remain in his mind. Iris meets his gaze with a soft smile, acknowledging that she is aware of this. She assures him that one day she will tell him everything, but she needs more time before she can do so. The seriousness of the moment lingers briefly before Brandt, realizing how close he has moved, shifts back slightly, unintentionally breaking the intensity of the atmosphere. Iris notices the subtle disappointment in his expression, but also recognizes that he has chosen not to pressure her. This restraint fills her with quiet gratitude. As she reflects on his actions, Iris becomes increasingly aware of her growing feelings for him. His presence alone brings her comfort, something she once believed she would never seek again. There was a time when she wanted nothing to do with men, yet now she finds herself drawn to him, craving the warmth and safety he provides. Sensing her own thoughts drifting too far, Iris pulls back slightly and shakes her head, attempting to regain composure. K-Brandt misinterprets her reaction, believing he has somehow ruined the moment. He quickly apologizes and shifts his focus to her well-being, expressing concern about her rest. Okay. He then produces a bracelet containing a guardian stone intending to help her sleep peacefully. Iris hesitates. She does not wish to sleep, especially not under the influence of the stone. A quiet unease settles over her as she considers the possibility of revealing something in a vulnerable state. She attempts to dissuade him, but K-Brandt gently activates the stone regardless. As its effect begins to take hold, Iris feels a flicker of fear. Her thoughts grow heavy, and despite her resistance, sleep begins to claim her. Beneath that calm exterior, her concern remains as she cannot be certain what truths might surface once she loses control within the depths of her dreams. K-Brandt, the count responsible for overseeing holy relics, lives a life filled with constant responsibility and pressure. His duties require him to track down locations where strange and dangerous phenomena occur, identify the presence of relics, and coordinate closely with his trusted subordinates, known as the Shadows, to secure them. At the same time, he must always be prepared for conflict, especially when it comes to protecting the freedom and safety of those who serve under him. Finding individuals capable of handling relics is yet another burden he carries. Because of all this, nightly meetings with his Shadows have become a routine necessity, a time to review developments and plan their next steps. However, on this particular night, something feels completely off. The atmosphere in the room is heavy, and the reason becomes obvious the moment K-Brandt appears. He looks utterly exhausted, as though sleep has abandoned him for days. Dark circles shadow his eyes, and his usual composed demeanor is replaced by an unusual sense of defeat. Eugene, Nathan, James, and Wallace exchange glances, unable to comprehend what could have caused such a drastic change in him. None of them has ever seen him like this before, and the unfamiliar sight leaves them unsure of how to respond. Nathan attempts to gauge whether anyone else has any insight, but the shared confusion among them makes it clear that they are all equally clueless. Then, in stark contrast to the tense mood, Wallace suddenly blurts out an excited and completely unexpected guess, wondering if K-Brandt has been rejected by Iris, and if that could explain his current state. The room falls into an awkward silence as K-Brandt slowly lifts his tired gaze and asks Wallace to repeat what he just said. Even that small reaction confirms that something is indeed wrong. Encouraged by the response, Wallace continues his wild speculation, suggesting various dramatic scenarios, from Iris losing interest in K-Brandt to him somehow ruining things himself. Before he can go any further, Nathan swiftly knocks him on the head, shutting him down and restoring some level of order. James, maintaining his usual seriousness, steps in and asks directly what has happened, convinced that something significant must be behind K-Brandt's condition. After a brief pause, K-Brandt finally answers, revealing that the reason for his state is that he has lost to Windy. His response leaves the entire room stunned. For a moment, they wonder if they have misheard him. The idea that someone like K-Brandt could be so affected by a small unicorn seems almost impossible to believe. Yet he calmly explains that Iris, who rarely dreams, had called out Windy's name in her sleep with a peaceful and happy expression. He had secretly hoped that he would be the one to appear in her dreams first. But instead, it was the mischievous little unicorn. The silence that follows is heavy, not because they fail to understand, but because they cannot believe that such a trivial matter has shaken him so deeply. Despite their disbelief, the meeting eventually concludes, though the unusual tension lingers in the air. Afterward, K-Brandt makes his way toward Iris's room, still bothered by the incident. As he walks, he reflects seriously on what women might like, even recalling how the topic had unexpectedly become part of their earlier discussion. Wallace had enthusiastically suggested that giving gifts was the key, as it could bring happiness and strengthen emotional bonds. Nathan had immediately dismissed the idea as obvious, emphasizing that understanding a person's true preferences mattered far more. James, offering a more thoughtful perspective, had suggested that Iris might genuinely like animals, considering her fondness for Windy. That suggestion sparked something in K-Brandt's mind. Slowly, his earlier gloom begins to fade as an idea forms. By the time he reaches the bedroom, his expression has shifted, no longer resembling the defeated figure from before. However, his interpretation of the advice takes an unexpected turn. Instead of seeking out a new pet, he decides on a far more unusual approach. Once inside, he quietly removes his outer layers and transforms into his wolf form before settling beside Iris. In his mind, this solution feels perfect. If Iris likes animals, then there is no better choice than him. He convinces himself that there is no need to introduce any new creature that might compete for her attention. His own presence, especially in such a form, should be more than enough to earn her affection. With that thought, he relaxes beside her, content with his decision. Elsewhere in the manor, a completely different tension unfolds. Brittany's mother paces restlessly, unable to calm her growing frustration. She feels the current situation with Iris cannot continue. Brittany herself is in a volatile state, throwing documents aside and obsessively declaring her determination to become Empress, though she offers no clear explanation for her sudden urgency. The Whittle Duke attempts to reassure his family, insisting that everything is still progressing according to plan. He explains that the royal family, particularly those connected to the crown princess, place great importance on familial ties. He also mentions that the second prince remains cautious, while the heir to the throne appears eager to move forward with marriage arrangements. Despite his confidence, his words fail to ease the Duchess's concerns. The Duchess remains deeply unsettled, especially by Iris's growing confidence and defiance. She senses that something is bound to go wrong if things continue this way. Determined to act, she heads into the garden, considering ways to accelerate Brittany's marriage. She believes that securing that union quickly could shift the balance in their favor. Still, a lingering fear troubles her, the possibility that the royal family might choose a more advantageous match. Her thoughts are interrupted when she encounters Lady Green. The meeting is unexpected, and for a moment, both women assess each other carefully. Lady Green acknowledges her identity with composed certainty, while the Duchess responds with polite surprise, noting that she had not expected to meet her here. Lady Green explains that her presence is only natural, given her son's upcoming wedding, and remarks that she would have personally welcomed the Duchess had she known of her arrival. This statement causes a brief flicker of irritation in the Duchess, who finds it difficult to believe that their visit had gone unnoticed. However, she quickly masks her reaction, deciding that open conflict is not in her best interest at the moment. Maintaining a courteous tone, she asks whether Lady Green is satisfied with Iris. Lady Green responds without hesitation, expressing genuine approval. She describes Iris as both kind and intelligent, even admitting that she sometimes feels as though Iris were her own daughter. The Duchess is momentarily stunned by this praise, struggling to reconcile it with her own perception of Iris. She forces a smile, suggesting that Iris may have shortcomings due to her limited exposure to high society, and expressing hope that Lady Green will guide her properly. Lady Green calmly counters this implication, stating that she has yet to find any faults in Iris. When the Duchess persists, subtly attempting to highlight flaws, Lady Green gently suggests that such insistence may stem from a desire to find fault where none exists. The conversation grows sharper beneath its polite surface. When the Duchess attempts to defend herself, Lady Green interrupts with a composed but pointed remark, questioning whether the guidance she speaks of might actually involve harsh treatment. The Duchess laughs nervously, insisting that Iris has always been treated with care and has never been subjected to hardship. Yet under Lady Green's steady gaze, her words begin to falter. Lady Green then presents her own observations, noting that Iris's hands bear signs of labor, far rougher than those of a typical lady. She questions how such a condition could exist if Iris had truly been treated well. The implication is clear, and it strikes directly at the Duchess. Unable to maintain her composure, the Duchess reacts defensively, accusing Iris of spreading lies and damaging the family's reputation. Lady Green, however, remains calm, explaining that her conclusions are based solely on what she has seen. She offers a measured apology if those conclusions are incorrect, but her tone carries an unmistakable warning. She makes it clear that Iris is now a member of the Green family, and that she will personally ensure her protection. Any attempt to speak ill of Iris will be treated as an attack against the entire family. The message is firm and leaves no room for misunderstanding. Faced with this unwavering stance, the Duchess has no choice but to respond with restrained politeness. She expresses gratitude before quickly excusing herself, eager to leave before her anger becomes visible. Once she is alone, her composure shatters. Her frustration boils over, and she clenches her fists, seething at the way events are unfolding beyond her control. In her mind, everything now hinges on Brittany's future. She convinces herself that the Crown Prince will not abandon Brittany, and that once that bond is secured, the balance of power will shift once again. With that belief, she clings to the hope that Iris and Brant's wedding may not proceed as smoothly as it seems. Meanwhile, within the quiet comfort of the manor, Iris and Brant rest peacefully, unaware of the tension slowly building beyond their world. Brant, still in his wolf form, lies beside her as both drift into a deep, undisturbed sleep. The calm of the night wraps around them, offering a rare moment of serenity before the challenges ahead. The following morning arrives gently. Iris wakes with a soft yawn, stretching slightly as she realizes she has once again enjoyed a full night of uninterrupted rest. The absence of nightmares brings her a sense of relief she has not felt in a long time. Turning her head, she notices the large wolf resting beside her, and wonders when exactly Brant returned and chose to lie there. A quiet sigh escapes her as she recalls her dream, relieved that it had only involved Windy and nothing more complicated that would require explanation. Lost in her thoughts, Iris fails to notice the subtle shift behind her. Brant has already returned to his human form and moves closer, wrapping his arms firmly around her waist. The sudden contact startles her, and she lets out a small cry of surprise. In response, he holds her more securely, clearly amused, and expresses his dissatisfaction at being forgotten so easily, especially when it comes to a simple morning greeting. Not long after, the mood shifts as preparations begin for the day. Iris stands before her maids, presenting the outfit she has chosen. The clothing is simple by noble standards, and she asks whether she looks like an ordinary city girl. Alula responds with open admiration, noting that even in modest attire, Iris's natural beauty remains impossible to conceal. The compliment brings a small smile to Iris's face, though her thoughts linger on the reason behind the outfit. K-Brandt had specifically asked her to wear something like this, but had not explained why or where they would be going. Christina, observing the situation, cannot help but comment that it appears Iris is preparing for a date. The word itself feels unfamiliar yet exciting to Iris. Despite being married, she realizes this will be their first true outing together in such a way. The thought carries a special meaning for her, especially since in her past life, she had only ever heard about such experiences from Brittany and had never lived through one herself. As the preparations continue, Alula hesitantly steps forward with a request. With a mix of excitement and concern, she asks if she can accompany Iris on the outing. She explains that since they will likely leave the safety of the manor, there could be potential danger, and she wishes to ensure Iris's protection. Christina immediately objects, placing a firm hand on Alula's shoulder. Though her smile remains gentle, there is an unmistakable edge to her tone as she insists that K-Brandt will handle everything and that this is not a moment for interference. Alula attempts to argue her case, but Christina's patience quickly wears thin, causing her composed demeanor to crack. The exchange amuses Iris, who finds herself laughing softly at their dynamic. Soon after, Iris steps out onto the street where K-Brandt awaits her. The moment he sees her, his expression softens, and he comments on how striking she looks, even in such simple attire. Iris responds lightly, mentioning that her maids had assured her the outfit was ordinary. However, K-Brandt clearly disagrees, as he drapes a cloak over her shoulders, insisting that her beauty still draws too much attention. Iris responds playfully, suggesting that even if the outfit were to become worn or dirty, it would not change how he sees her. Taking her hand, K-Brandt leads her forward, remarking that he has no choice but to walk proudly beside such a remarkable wife. As they enter the city, Iris's curiosity awakens. She looks around with wide-eyed wonder, taking in sights she has never truly experienced before. In her previous life, she had always traveled by carriage, never walking freely among the people. Now she finds joy in the lively streets, where children run freely and merchants call out to passersby, showcasing their goods. The atmosphere feels vibrant and alive, almost magical in her eyes. K-Brandt watches her reaction carefully, feeling a sense of satisfaction. In truth, much of this outing has been carefully planned with guidance from James. Having grown tired of declining countless gift proposals meant for Iris, James had instead provided a detailed list of popular places and activities suited for a proper outing. He had even emphasized the importance of sincere compliments, assuring K-Brandt that such gestures would bring Iris happiness. Their walk eventually leads them to a quieter district, where the noise of the city fades into a more refined calm. Iris notices the change immediately, commenting on how peaceful the area feels. K-Brandt explains that this part of the city is known for its high-end shops, often visited by nobles and wealthy patrons. He guides her into one such establishment, mentioning that it has recently become popular, especially among women. Inside, the shop assistant eagerly explains that the location is considered a favored destination for couples. Among its unique offerings are specially crafted teaspoons, rare items that some customers even collect. Despite the novelty, Iris finds herself less interested in the shop and expresses a preference for continuing their walk outside. Her response surprises K-Brandt, and a subtle disappointment flickers across his expression. Noticing this, Iris steps closer and gently questions him, wondering if he had intended to buy the items for her. He quickly reassures her that it is not important, but she senses otherwise. With a playful gesture, she raises a finger to his lips, pointing out that he appears to be sulking. The closeness catches him off guard, and he averts his gaze, clearly flustered, while insisting that he is perfectly fine. Without lingering on the moment, K-Brandt takes her hand again and leads her back into the streets, suggesting they continue exploring. Iris watches him with curiosity, trying to understand the subtle shifts in his mood. Recently, she has begun to suspect that his behavior might be tied to a quiet jealousy, perhaps even connected to her affection for Windy, though she struggles to fully make sense of it. As they return to a more crowded part of the city, K-Brandt suggests that she look for something she might like. Iris eagerly moves through the stalls, her excitement returning as she points out various items. Eventually, her attention is drawn to a display of combs. She leans in for a closer look, examining them carefully. K-Brandt, observing from behind, assumes that her interest must be related to Windy. He tells himself that as long as she's happy, it does not matter. However, His thoughts are interrupted when Iris turns to him and asks him to hold out his hand. Confused but compliant, he does so. She gently runs the comb across his palm, asking if he likes the sensation. Still under the impression that the item is meant for the unicorn, he responds accordingly, suggesting that she would know better what Windy prefers. Iris, however, surprises him with her reply. She explains that the comb is not for Windy at all, but is something she chose specifically for him. The words catch him completely off guard. For a moment, he is unable to respond. Iris continues, her smile sincere, expressing that he is always the most important person to her. The simplicity and honesty of her statement leave him visibly shaken. Flustered, K. Brandt abruptly turns away and begins walking, telling her to follow without looking back. His reaction is quick and uncharacteristic, as though he is trying to regain control of himself. Iris hurries to catch up, concern evident as she asks whether he is truly all right. He assures her that everything is fine, though his pace and demeanor suggest otherwise, leaving her to quietly wonder what thoughts are now running through his mind. After their long walk through the lively streets, Iris and Keybrandt settle beneath the wide shade of an old tree, the shoom of the city fading into a distant hum. The calm atmosphere allows them a rare moment of quiet. Keybrandt, still holding the small comb Iris had given him, turns his attention to her with curiosity, wondering why she chose to give him such a thoughtful gift. Iris, leaning slightly closer, explains that her gesture comes from concern, a quiet acknowledgement of the burdens he carries even when he tries to hide them. Keybrandt lets out a soft chuckle, admitting that Iris constantly surprises him in ways he never expects. Iris responds with a light giggle, suggesting that he will simply have to grow accustomed to her unpredictability. Resting her head gently against his shoulder, she speaks of the many moments they have yet to share, her tone filled with quiet hope and certainty. Keybrandt listens, then suggests they begin creating those moments immediately, shifting the mood with a hint of playful anticipation. Iris, curious, asks what he means, and Keybrandt reveals his excitement about her upcoming wedding dress fitting, something he has been secretly looking forward to. Iris realizes he has misunderstood her deeper meaning, yet she chooses not to correct him, deciding that his happiness matters more than clarifying her thoughts. Instead, she leans in and embraces him, sealing the moment with a soft kiss that leaves Keybrandt visibly uplifted. The effect of that moment carries into the next day. Keybrandt returns home radiating an unusual brightness, greeting everyone with an energy that feels almost overwhelming. He moves through the halls with enthusiasm, drawing back curtains and commenting on the beauty of the morning as though the world itself has changed overnight. His behavior catches the attention of everyone present. Jarethian questions his sudden cheerfulness, unable to ignore how out of character it seems, while Nilani observes calmly, noting that the previous day's outing must have gone exceptionally well. Keybrandt openly expresses his happiness, speaking of the future with an optimism that feels almost tangible. Even his mother watches him with mild surprise, recognizing that something significant has shifted within him. Jarethian, though still skeptical, begins to wonder if Iris is truly managing everything well, especially considering the overwhelming preparations surrounding the wedding. Meanwhile, Iris stands at the center of a bustling room filled with fabrics, designs, and constant movement. The scale of the wedding preparations begins to fully reveal itself, leaving her momentarily stunned. Dresses of various styles and purposes are arranged around her, each meant for a different stage of the multi-day celebration. The sheer number feels excessive to her, far beyond anything she ever imagined. She attempts to argue that the quantity is unnecessary, but her objections are quickly dismissed as the others explain that such extravagance is expected, even considered modest by certain standards. Iris realizes that resisting this process is futile and quietly accepts her situation, though not without a hint of disbelief. As the preparations continue, Nilani enters the room accompanied by a figure whose presence immediately draws attention. Iris recognizes her with surprise as the renowned designer Tylette, a name that carries immense prestige across the continent. Tylette's reputation alone is enough to command admiration, known for creating gowns that transform their wearers into the center of any gathering. Iris understands the significance of having such a designer involved in her wedding, recalling how even the most powerful individuals often struggle to secure her work. The atmosphere shifts slightly as Tylette begins observing Iris with a professional yet intrigued gaze, carefully examining every detail during the fitting process. She offers precise adjustments, ensuring that the dresses not only look stunning but also allow for movement, especially considering the demanding schedule Iris will face during the celebrations. The conversation turns toward dancing, a central part of the upcoming events. Nilani inquires about Iris's skill, prompting a confident yet modest response. Though Iris presents it lightly, her experience runs deeper than she lets on, shaped by memories she chooses not to fully reveal. The discussion naturally transitions into the customs surrounding the wedding, including the traditions that will place Iris at the center of attention. She listens carefully, Realizing the weight of these expectations and the significance behind each ritual, the thought of being so closely observed makes her slightly uneasy, yet she maintains her composure, determined not to falter. At that moment, the atmosphere shifts abruptly as Brittany enters without warning. Her sudden appearance disrupts the calm, her initial irritation barely concealed before she quickly masks it with a more composed expression upon noticing the others present. She attempts to present herself as concerned, questioning why she had not been included in such an important moment. However, her eyes betray her true feelings, scanning the room with unmistakable envy. The sight of the luxurious dresses confirms what she had already feared, intensifying her frustration. As Brittany's gaze lands on Tylette, her reaction becomes more restrained, yet internally conflicted. She recognizes the designer immediately, understanding the significance of her presence and the advantage it gives Iris. Trying to recover, Brittany offers to assist, implying that Iris lacks the refinement needed to make proper choices. Her words, though framed as helpful, carry an underlying edge. Tylette, however, calmly dismisses the suggestion, stating that the dresses suit Iris perfectly and even expressing willingness to provide them, recognizing the value of association. This response only deepens Brittany's frustration, though she struggles to maintain her composure. Attempting another approach, Brittany subtly shifts the conversation toward expense, questioning why such lavish preparations are not being handled by their own family. She expects resistance, believing this will paint Iris in a negative light. Instead, Iris responds with calm agreement, turning the suggestion back on Brittany in a way that completely alters the situation. She expresses that it would indeed be wonderful if their family took responsibility, framing it as a thoughtful and reasonable idea. The room falls into an awkward silence as the implications settle in. Brittany finds herself momentarily speechless, caught off guard by the unexpected response. Her attempt to undermine Iris has instead placed her own family in a difficult position, exposing limitations she had not intended to reveal. The tension lingers as she struggles to regain control, realizing too late that her words have worked against her. Iris, meanwhile, remains composed, her calm demeanor contrasting sharply with Brittany's internal turmoil, quietly maintaining her advantage without the need for further confrontation. Brittany stands frozen, unable to believe that Iris does not retreat or soften her stance by claiming everything was merely a joke. Instead, Iris remains calm and composed, which only deepens Brittany's frustration. In her mind, Iris should feel embarrassed, yet there is no sign of shame, no hesitation, no attempt to undo what has already been set in motion. Desperation begins to creep in as Brittany searches for a way to regain control of the situation. She quickly raises the concern that having the Whittle family cover the wedding expenses instead of the groom's family could spark gossip and damage reputations. However, Iris responds with steady confidence, pointing out that since the suggestion originally comes from Brittany herself, there should be nothing to worry about. She further adds that no one would dare spread rumors about the Green family, subtly reinforcing the imbalance of influence between the two households. With a gentle yet deliberate smile, Iris questions whether the Whittle family would truly struggle to spend money on their own daughter, especially considering how often Brittany claims their affection and devotion. At that moment, realization strikes Brittany. She understands too late that she has been skillfully cornered, her own words turned against her. The situation slips entirely out of her control, and despite her resistance, she is forced to accept that the Whittle family will now bear the burden of the wedding expenses. The consequences unfold swiftly. When the Duke of Whittle learns of this arrangement, his anger erupts without restraint. He reprimands Brittany harshly, unable to comprehend how she allowed herself to be drawn into such a disadvantageous position. Brittany attempts to defend herself, insisting she never intended for things to escalate this way, but her explanations do little to calm him. The Duke argues that she should have corrected the situation immediately, especially in the presence of Gerethian, emphasizing that it is highly improper for the bride's family to shoulder such an extravagant cost. In his view, the Green family, known for their refinement and status, would never willingly accept such an arrangement if it threatened their reputation. Brittany tries to shift the argument toward preserving the Whittle family's honor, but the Duke cuts her off, declaring that he will personally confront Kbrand and resolve the matter. Despite her attempts to stop him, he refuses to back down, convinced that allowing this situation to stand would be both unreasonable and humiliating. Without delay, the Duke makes his way to Kybrandt's office, his anger barely contained. Upon arrival, he is met with unexpected politeness. Kybrandt greets him calmly, even expressing what appears to be gratitude, which only fuels the Duke's irritation further. The Duke dismisses this notion immediately, arguing that there is nothing to be thankful for, and that Kybrandt, as a rational and capable man, should have discouraged such a proposal regardless of its origin. Kybrandt, however, responds with quiet clarity, explaining that there has been a misunderstanding. He reveals that the suggestion did not come from Iris, but from Brittany herself, who personally approached Iris with the idea that the Whittle family should handle the expenses, including the dresses and overall arrangements. Kybrandt presents this as an act of sisterly concern, implying that Brittany simply wished to contribute to her sister's happiness. The Duke is momentarily speechless, caught off guard by this explanation. When he regains his composure, he attempts to reframe the situation, questioning whether K-Brandt is taking advantage of his daughter's inexperience. K-Brandt responds with subtle precision, asking which daughter the Duke is referring to, a question that forces the Duke to clarify that he means Brittany. The Duke insists that regardless of how the idea originated, allowing the arrangement to proceed would invite gossip and damage both families, suggesting they simply pretend the conversation never occurred. At this point, K-Brandt's demeanor shifts. His calm expression hardens into something far colder, and he makes it clear that the consequences would fall not on the Green family, but on the Whittles. He explains that Brittany has already made a public commitment, and failing to honor it would reflect poorly on their integrity. Furthermore, he emphasizes that an alliance with the Green family is a privilege, and it is only natural for the Whittles to demonstrate their support through financial contribution. His reasoning leaves little room for argument, placing the Duke in an increasingly difficult position. As the weight of the situation settles in, the Duke begins to see the reality he cannot escape. Much of the family's wealth has already been invested elsewhere, particularly in efforts to secure Brittany's future through a favorable marriage. Covering the cost of Iris's wedding would place an immense strain on their resources, potentially forcing them into debt. Yet refusing would damage their reputation beyond repair, risking everything they have worked toward. With no viable alternative, the Duke finds himself cornered, forced to accept a burden he cannot easily bear. K-Brandt, maintaining his composure, produces detailed documents outlining the extensive costs involved, from attire to arrangements, presenting them as a formal acknowledgement of the Duke's contribution. With that, he takes his leave, leaving the Duke alone with the consequences of his daughter's miscalculation. Elsewhere, K-Brandt reflects on the situation, his thoughts returning to Iris. He cannot ignore how accurately she anticipated every development. Prior to his meeting with the Duke, Iris had already suggested obtaining a full account of the wedding expenses, predicting that the Duke would come to object. She had also confidently stated that he would ultimately choose to protect the family's reputation, especially given their ambitions for Brittany's future. K-Brandt finds himself quietly impressed by her foresight, though he does not yet fully understand the depth of it. At that moment, Iris enters the room, her presence light yet deliberate. She asks whether his discussion with the Duke has concluded, and K-Brandt confirms that everything has unfolded exactly as she expected. Pleased, Iris steps closer and offers a small gesture of appreciation, praising his handling of the situation. K-Brandt, though acknowledging her praise, admits that such a simple reward feels insufficient, his reaction tinged with an unusual hint of embarrassment. He then shares his concerns, pointing out that while they have secured the funds, the Whittle family's financial state remains uncertain. If they resort to loans and fail to repay them, the consequences could eventually extend to the Green family as well. Iris listens without concern, her expression calm and assured. She reassures him that there is no need to worry, stating that she will handle any complications personally. When K-Brandt asks about her plan, she offers only a playful hint, suggesting that she may reveal it in time, but only if he earns the privilege. Her tone remains light, yet her confidence is unwavering. However, as she looks more closely at him, she notices a subtle shift in his expression. His gaze becomes heavier, more distant, as though something weighs on his mind. Before she can fully understand the change, K-Brandt tells her to ignore it, brushing aside whatever thought has unsettled him. He pulls her closer, his actions driven by instinct rather than words, and for a moment the tension between them deepens. Yet just as quickly, he regains control, stepping back and distancing himself as if aware that he has crossed a line. Without further explanation, he turns and leaves, offering only a brief remark about attending to other matters. Iris is left standing in silence, watching his sudden departure with growing confusion. From her perspective, his behavior has been increasingly unpredictable, and she cannot shake the feeling that something important remains unspoken. K-Brandt steps into the garden, seeking the calm of fresh air as he tries to steady his thoughts. The quiet surroundings do little to ease the storm within him. He feels unsettled, almost overwhelmed, as if his emotions are slipping beyond his control. Though he has already decided to wait patiently for Iris to reveal her secrets in her own time, he cannot deny the disappointment lingering beneath that decision. It troubles him deeply, not only because of what she hides, but because of how strongly it affects him. These are not feelings he is accustomed to, and the unfamiliar intensity leaves him restless and confused. Trying to escape his thoughts, he continues walking until he reaches the training grounds, where the familiar environment offers a chance to redirect his energy. Eugene notices him almost immediately and is surprised to see him alone. K-Brandt is rarely without Iris now, and her absence is noticeable. When asked, K-Brandt gives a simple explanation, claiming he only wants to stretch his legs. Sensing his mood, Eugene quickly orders the others to clear the area, leaving K-Brandt with the space he clearly needs. Alone, K. Brandt picks up a sword and stands still for a moment, staring at the training equipment as if trying to gather his thoughts. However, the silence only amplifies his inner conflict. He realizes that his turmoil is not solely about Iris's hidden truths. The closeness they have shared, the fleeting moments of intimacy have stirred something far deeper within him. Those moments have not satisfied him, but instead awakened a stronger, more persistent longing. Driven by this restless energy, K. Brandt begins striking the target with increasing force. Each movement reflects the chaos in his mind. Images of Iris surface unbidden, her smile, her gaze, the way his heart reacts whenever she is near. He feels himself losing control, not in action, but in emotion, and the realization unsettles him. What frightens him most is the possibility that these feelings could one day harm her. That thought alone pushes him further, his strikes growing more forceful until, in a sudden burst of strength, the training sword snaps. The sharp sound breaks the moment, and Eugene quickly steps in, concern evident as he offers a towel and questions what has happened. K. Brandt dismisses it lightly, claiming nothing is wrong, yet even he knows that answer is far from the truth. Despite the distance from Iris, his thoughts remain consumed by her. He cannot deny the intensity of his desire, the urge to be closer, to hold her, to lose himself completely in her presence. The memory of their earlier interaction lingers, and he realizes that if things had gone even slightly further, he might not have been able to stop himself. Eugene, noticing his distracted state, presses him for answers, unwilling to accept silence. When K. Brandt tries to avoid the topic, Eugene threatens to involve the others, forcing him to finally speak. Reluctantly, K. Brandt admits the truth, his conflicting desires, his fear of losing control, and his frustration over the secrets Iris keeps. Yet beneath all of it lies a stronger feeling, a desire to see her happy, to protect her from anything that might cause her pain, even if that pain comes from himself. Eugene listens carefully, then responds with quiet understanding. He explains that such emotions cannot simply be controlled or suppressed, and what K. Brandt is experiencing has a far simpler name than he realizes. The realization strikes K. Brandt with unexpected clarity. After a moment of silence, he begins to understand what has been happening within him all along. The confusion, the intensity, the fear, and the longing all point to a single truth. He has fallen in love with Iris. While K. Brandt comes to terms with his feelings, events continue to unfold elsewhere. In the royal palace, the crown prince receives the wedding invitation and examines it with interest. The craftsmanship alone captures his attention, reflecting the significance of the occasion. He recalls what he has heard about Iris, her beauty, her reputation, and the contrasting image of her sister Brittany. The stories he has heard paint a divided picture, one of arrogance and mystery on one side, and humility on the other. His curiosity is piqued, not only by the wedding itself, but by the opportunity to see these individuals for himself. The thought of attending the ceremony appeals to him, offering both entertainment and insight into the choices of his old acquaintance, K. Brandt. Despite a brief concern from his attendant about potential complications, the crown prince dismisses the idea of causing trouble, though he hints that challenges may arise for Iris regardless of his actions. Back at the manor, one such challenge appears without warning. Elahad, K. Brandt's brother, arrives and immediately confronts Iris with open hostility. His reaction is sharp and unfiltered, making it clear that he does not accept her presence. Iris is momentarily taken aback. While she never expects universal approval, the intensity of his rejection is unexpected. Quickly assessing the situation, she identifies him and adjusts her response accordingly. Elahad criticizes her manners, addressing her in a way that deliberately undermines her position. Any initial patience Iris might have had disappears instantly, replaced by a composed yet firm demeanor. She responds by pointing out his own lack of courtesy, reminding him of her status and the implications of his words. The exchange grows tense as Elahad questions her place within the family, implying that she must have manipulated circumstances to secure her position. His frustration is evident, but beneath it lies something deeper, a sense of confusion and perhaps even fear of losing his brother. Iris recognizes this underlying emotion and addresses it directly, suggesting that his reaction stems from something more personal than mere disapproval. This observation unsettles him, prompting him to shift his approach. He attempts to provoke her further, referencing rumors and testing her reactions, but Iris remains steady, refusing to be drawn into his tactics. As the confrontation escalates, Elahad notices something unusual about Iris, a presence he cannot fully understand. His attention shifts to the subtle aura surrounding her, something that intrigues him enough to act. He reaches out, intending to examine it more closely, but his sudden movement startles Iris. For a brief moment, uncertainty crosses her mind, unsure of his intentions. Before the situation can develop further, James arrives, stepping in swiftly to intervene. His presence interrupts the tension, placing a clear boundary between Iris and K. Brandt's brother, and signaling that she is not alone in facing whatever challenges may come next. Enjoying this so far? Comment Beast below for part 3. Until next time, ciao.